Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, my name is Matt Murphy. It's 7 minutes after 3 o'clock. The phone lines are open at 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. I mentioned the phone lines are open because I expect there's going to be a lot of discussion today over some of the breaking news that has happened over the last 2 hours. If you're just joining us for whatever reason, I'm going to recap for you as best we can, try to break it down and analyze it for you. I know that I've been in conversation with everyone on the Super Talk team, from Dan Mandis to Chris Hand to Chad Benson, of course, whom you just heard from, and Brian Wilson is going to join us in a couple of minutes. Of course, Brian's on top of this story as well. Still, that journalism blood is running through his veins, and he was made aware, and we were all made aware of a breaking news story out of out of Utah. This is in Orem, Utah, if I'm not mistaken, at Utah Valley College, where Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, political commentator and noted political commentator, podcaster, conservative, was shot assassination style on campus while holding a free speech event, ironically enough. He was shot in the neck. We know that he was transported to a local hospital where he is listed in critical condition. We do not know his condition outside of that. I will tell you that if the many videos that we have seen coming from the scene, and I would not advise if you are weak of stomach or if you're not ready for something very, very graphic, these are not for the faint of heart. If you seek these videos out, you're watching a man get shot and possibly killed. So I would advise against it necessarily unless you feel like you can handle it, but the videos are in abundance and they are out on the internet. Any time that you get someplace where a large number of people are gathering in the modern community, you're going to find this where there's going to be videos of the of an event such as this. But there were many eyewitnesses to what happened. Apparently, this shot came from some distance away. Reports are that it came from about 200 yards away at least. And we know that Charlie Kirk was shot. I was texting back and forth with Chris Hand, and many of you know that in addition to being our midday host, a great midday host from 9 until noon, Chris has been working with Turning Point USA for a number of years, and he has connections there. And he was telling me that Charlie Kirk's wife and children were in the audience. They don't attend every event that he does. He's been doing these events for years. He goes on college campuses. He invites individuals that agree with him or individuals that disagree with him, particularly those that disagree with him, to engage in a debate format to discuss with him the issues at hand, whether it's immigration or abortion, whatever the issue that the individual brings up to Charlie. He's willing to have a robust exchange in the spirit of the founding fathers. And sadly, someone took his voice down today. We hope and pray that he will be okay. I pray that the hand of God is on him and his family. I think that is what we need right now, considering some of the videos that we have seen. We don't know a lot, but we do know this, that God is in control. And God will guide us as best he can. And sometimes we don't understand where we're being led, but God will lead us, and we need to understand that. We also do not need our emotions to lead us with regard to what actions we might be taking. And I can't impress that on you enough. It is an angering moment. We seem to see political rhetoric elevated to the point of political violence by one side of the political spectrum nowadays, don't we? And it has reached a boiling point in this country. And I fear that we are about to boil over. And I don't know where we go from there. But we do not need to exchange at this level of political violence. And I know that's hard to hear right now, and I know that there's a lot of anger right now. I mean, a man was shot today because of his beliefs. That's it. Charlie Kirk has not killed anyone. Charlie Kirk has not harmed you or your family. Charlie Kirk has a set of values and a set of beliefs. And this country is great enough that he is allowed to express his values and express his beliefs with regularity. And there are enough people that share similar beliefs and similar values that they were drawn to his message, and Turning Point USA was born. And his voice became louder and louder and stronger as more people stood up and said, yeah, I agree with you on this point. I agree with you on that point. And at least temporarily, that voice has been silenced today, and that's going to create a lot of emotion from a lot of people. We will talk with you about it. We will share what we know as best we know it. In the modern era, and we like to remind you, and I'm going to bring in Ken Weaver here in a moment. I'll bring in Brian Wilson. Brian is on the scene out in Watertown, and he's covering events. He's covered events like this, breaking news events like this, all of his political and radio career and television career. And he's going to share some thoughts with us coming up in just a couple of minutes. We have a guest coming up at 4 o'clock today just to kind of signpost for you. David Corlew of the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project has John Tigan coming in with him. That is Tig Tigan, who was one of the 6 individuals at the Benghazi annex on the infamous night of September 11th into September 12th, where sadly we had an ambassador killed and several others killed as a result, sadly, of incompetence. We've got that going on at 4 o'clock today. We're going to keep that there. We'll continue to update you on the news that's going on right now. But I don't know what else to say except that it is a sad day in the United States of America. And I will say that, well, I do know a lot. I've got a lot of things to say. Anytime that something along these lines happens, you will hear a narrative or a line of thought that we need to, quote unquote, tone down the rhetoric. We need to, quote unquote, tone down the rhetoric. We heard it for a week or so after a madman in Butler, Pennsylvania, a guy that we don't know a hell of a lot about to this day, right? For some reason. We don't know a lot about that person to this moment for some reason. Attempted to blow the head off of our candidate for president and our now president of the United States, Donald Trump, and came within certainly centimeters, if not millimeters, from accomplishing that goal. A lot of blame to go around that day, and a lot of blame was pointed. A lot of fingers were pointed, but we don't know a lot about the insane individual or the person that was willing to commit these evil and violent acts, do we? But what I do remember in the aftermath of that event, I think it was July 13th, if I'm not mistaken, of just last year, 2024, not that long ago. Oh, we were told that we needed to tone down the rhetoric, that we needed to calm the rhetoric, that we needed to turn down the temperature. And I say bravo, Sierra, to that. It is not a matter of the rhetoric. It is a matter of the violence. It is a matter of not understanding where language stops, where action begins, where rights begin. Since the beginning of our nation, since our founding fathers sat in a hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there have been political disagreements. Since the first Constitutional Convention, there have been very robust rhetorical disagreements, emotional, angry political disagreements. It is in the very fabric of our being. It's in the fiber of our country. This is not about political rhetoric. This is not about taking a strong stand on something that you believe in and pushing back on those that might have a different point of view or a different position. That's what America's all about. This is about something different. This is about mental illness. This is about allowing some of the language that is being used nowadays to impact you in such a way where you feel justified to resorting to this sort of violence. I don't know what the motivations of this shooter are, and I don't pretend to. The last thing that we need to do is attempt to curtail the ability to speak freely in the United States of America right now. The last thing that we need to see is a suggestion that we need to stop with the quote-unquote rhetoric. This is not about that. This is about political violence and groups of people that have decided that if they do not get their way, they are going to kill their way until they get their way. That's different. This garbage about toning down the rhetoric is all about trying to turn it back on you and on me. And I'm not having any of it. I'm in the free speech business. It's what we do. It's what Charlie Kirk does. And someone attempted to silence him. And so any suggestion that we need to tone down the rhetoric is acquiescing to that effort to silence me, to silence you. And we will not be ashamed, and we will not be silenced. Oh, but we will fight back. No, we're not fighting back in the streets. We're not taking up the tactics of those that would resort to this sort of violence. We fight back with the promise of a better way, of a better America, of better ideas, of better solutions for you and your family. We fight back by suggesting that we can make America great again. So don't fall into this trap that some are about to lay down, that they're going to say it, I can already hear them. All of us need to back off and calm down. At some point, you will see disgusting human beings on major news networks suggesting that Charlie Kirk's rhetoric was in some way responsible for this. And I say to you, shame. Shame on you. This is a country that was founded on the premise that your ideas, so long as you are not inciting individuals to violence, and I got something to say about that in just a moment, your ideas are valid and they are permissible because we are a nation that first and foremost believes in the freedom of man. And that is no less a most important point now than it was 2 hours ago, that it was 2 days ago, that it was 2 months or 2 years ago. I will say this, that when sadly there are efforts on the part of some that claim to be on the political right to resort to violence of this sort, you see it on occasion. Those are always condemned, soundly, roundly condemned. And they should be. And I want to see what level of soul searching goes on with the political left today. I'm not telling them what they have to do. I'm wondering if they understand what they need to do. Because whether you know it or not, calling people Hitler affects crazy people. Whether you mean it or not, deciding that it's funny to call Donald Trump Hitler dehumanizes Donald Trump or Charlie Kirk or whomever it is. And while you might tell me that you would never, ever, ever resort to any sort of violence, I would suggest that there are people listening. And some of those people are not as sane as you. All right, so we're going to reset. We're going to take calls. We're going to hear from our colleague Brian Wilson, his thoughts on this matter and the latest on it. We're trying to keep up from the newsroom. I welcome in Ken Weaver from the news suite. Ken, any thoughts or any updates on this story?
The only update is, well, no update other than what we already know, that Charlie Kirk is in critical condition. They have a suspected shooter in custody. Coming up in my news at the bottom of the hour, there is a report on what someone overheard this suspect say as he was being taken into custody. And then you may already know this, Brother Murphy. I think Brother Chris Hand has already talked about this. Mr. Kirk was scheduled to speak in Murfreesboro here in just a couple of weeks, I believe, at the Culture and Christianity Conference. So I obviously I don't think I don't know what's going to happen with that right now. But according to what I'm looking at on the Culture and Christianity Conference 2025 Facebook page, he was scheduled to speak in Murfreesboro on September 19th. So now we're just waiting for Charlie Kirk's condition. And what you have described from that video certainly is indicative of what the authorities are saying his condition is right now, and that is critical.
Yeah, I'm getting some reports that are coming in that aren't good, and I need to try to absorb these, and we'll try to update you on everything that's going on. A lot of fluid information, a lot of things coming into the studio, and we're going to update you and get your thoughts, emotional as they may be, on some of the news today. Sadly, political violence has occurred in America again, this time on the campus of Utah Valley, as political commentator and conservative Charlie Kirk was shot earlier today. And the shooting suspect, according to the university, the shooting suspect's not in custody?
No, he is in custody.
Is in custody. Okay.
Yes.
CNN, why would I looked up at CNN, and CNN has Charlie Kirk, shooting suspect, not in custody. They're running that right now. Now, why would I believe them? But, we believe that he's in custody. We got news on the ground that he's in custody. And so we'll try to clarify some of that. It's 23 after the hour. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. You know, obviously, I don't wish you to have to defend yourself at any point in your life. I don't wish this on you, but I would say to you that the time may come where you find yourself in a negative situation, and it's why I'm glad that we have friends like we have at the Glock store. I'm glad that we have a training facility like we have in Nashville with Shoot270.com. We talk to you all about these training facilities and how they replicate more real-life scenarios than do some of these shooting lanes. What it's all about is making sure not only that you arm yourself, that you protect yourself, that you are the first responder and understand that you recognize that you are that line of defense against aggression or violence toward you, but also understanding when and how to use. And that's so important. And that is where the Shoot 270 rooms come in. Go talk to the friends at the Glock store about scheduling something with one of their qualified instructors. They're great at what they do. You can find them at Shoot270.com. That is Shoot270.com, or go to Glockstore.com. And when you stop by and talk to one of their great instructors, thank them for everything that they do for our community. It's Glock Store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere.
We'll tell you the very latest on conservative activist, commentator, and podcaster Charlie Kirk, who has been shot during an event in Utah today. That story and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are engaging and tell Brian I got so close to the bottom of the hour. We'll do Ken next with the news as we get to the bottom of the hour, and then I'll bring Brian Wilson in right after the bottom of the hour. My apologies to him, but let Brian know that. So this is an incredible gut punch. What has happened today? We're getting a lot of news, a lot of reports. We're seeing some video from the scene that is graphic. It is horrific. It is tragic. And it is difficult to understand how, A, someone could engage in this type of behavior, B, how someone could survive what happened at Utah Valley. All I can do is pray, and I pray God you do too. But we're not here. Charlie Kirk has died as a result of this gunshot. I'm just getting the story from someone who is talking to the private security team. Our colleague, Chris Hand, who knew Charlie, who was friends with Charlie, has just confirmed it, that he has been shot and killed by an assassin in Orem, Utah, at Utah Valley College. That just coming in seconds ago. We'll go to a newscast and be back in just a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Conservative activist, commentator, and podcaster Charlie Kirk has died as a result of being shot while speaking at Turning Point USA, an event there at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah today. President Trump posting on social media earlier that we must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot. A great guy from top to bottom. We get more from ABC's Aaron Katursky here.
Nothing specific about motive or Kirk's condition, but according to eyewitnesses, the suspect who was taken into custody by police was overheard shouting, "I do it again."
We have no other information on the suspected gunman taken into custody there at the university. Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. According to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office in Colorado, at least 2 students were shot today at Evergreen High School. This is about 40 miles west of Denver. Authorities have not released any information about a potential shooter there. And in our nation's capital, ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill says the top Senate Democrats trying to get his chamber to act on the Epstein files.
Minority Leader Chuck Schumer just did this rare, unexpected, and rather complex procedural move to try to attach an amendment that would compel the Justice Department to release all Epstein files it has from its prosecutions of him and Ghislaine Maxwell. It would compel the release of those files, and Schumer is trying to attach it to this must-pass defense bill. It's called the National Defense Authorization Act.
Now, this coincides with that effort from House lawmakers, namely Republican Thomas Massey of Kentucky, collecting signatures on what's called the discharge petition to force a vote on releasing all the files. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Over by Belmont, police reporting a crash 440 eastbound past Hillsborough Pike. That's exit 3. Then in South Nashville, a report of a crash 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. And in Glencliff, police still reporting a crash 24 westbound near Briley Parkway South. I'm Ken Weaver.
Part of the reason that we're able to offer you Super Talk 99.7 WTN is because of wonderful organizations, wonderful companies like Genesis Diamonds. Absolutely love Genesis Diamonds. And when you have happy times in your life, like a birthday, an anniversary, just because, maybe even an engagement, I encourage you to go to Genesis. The experts at Genesis are passionate about what they do. They're passionate about diamonds. They'll show you all of the inside tips and tricks on how to maximize value. Plus, you get a very good deal, a better deal than anywhere else on the market because they cut out the middleman at Genesis. Ask them how. Plus, they do not work on commission, so they are not designed to try to upsell you on anything you don't need. They'll find out what your budget is, what you are looking for, and then from a half carat to 20 carat, they have it at Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds with no compromises in Green Hills and Cool Springs. I invite you to be a part of the Genesis family. Stop by and tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis Diamonds. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 38 minutes after 3 o'clock. Matt Murphy, The Matt Murphy Show continues on Super Talk 99.7 this Wednesday afternoon, September 10. So there are some conflicting reports about whether or not the individual in custody in Utah accused of the shooting of Charlie Kirk is the actual suspect. The Associated Press is now saying the person taken into custody after Charlie Kirk was shot in Utah is not believed to be the shooting suspect. So says CNN. So we don't know, and I'll tell you, someone that taught me a lot about the modern era of reporting breaking news is on the line with us. Of course, Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. He gathers headlines, and if anything breaks back there, Ken, just jump in here and let us know.
You got it.
We just got the report in from a source. I don't know if he wants me to say, but a source that I trust implicitly, who's very close to the Turning Point USA family, that Charlie Kirk has not made it. And I felt comfortable on the advice of that person relaying that to you. It was my duty to report that. Brian Wilson knows a lot about breaking news coverage in the modern era, and sadly, we get a lot of information, and it is up to us, Brian, to try to filter out what's real and what's not.
You're exactly right, Matt. And your opening commentary was so powerful. Let me just say, you had exactly the right words to say on a day when it's hard to find the right words.
Amen.
Let me just say about the report that he has passed. I'm familiar with your source. I believe I have great confidence in that information. I don't believe it would be passed forward, but we are on the cutting edge of that information.
Yeah.
I have before me in my studio a quad box. Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and the BBC, all on this story. And none of them are reporting that as yet, but I believe it is very likely accurate, and
yes.
It's a very sad day. As for the suspects, Fox is now also reporting that the person that was initially, I think, taken into custody by police, said to be, by one witness, an elderly gentleman with white hair.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that individual has been released, and so they are now saying that they do not have the suspect in custody. I believe most of the reporting seems to be going in that direction. And again, you got to be very careful because, these breaking news stories, everything is fluid. You're in a chaotic situation. It takes a while. There's certainly going to be stuff that we report that turns out not to be right as we go forward, but we're giving you the best information as we have it. And then the job as we go forward is to perfect that information and make sure that we have the accurate telling of the story. But it is a tragic thing. This guy was a superstar among conservatives.
Yes.
He was a brilliant mind. I've never seen anybody who had a sharper mind than Charlie Kirk. And he's a very sharp guy, well respected. You could make the argument that Trump is president today because of the actions of Charlie Kirk in getting young people engaged in politics
100%.
again and changing minds.
Yes.
He's an immensely influential figure within conservative circles, and the information we're getting today is that he may not have survived this attack. One shot from a distance, apparently a rifle, bleeding profusely as he was carried off the stage. Chaos in the scene. I don't know if you've heard this sound yet, but Jason Chaffetz was in the audience. And I have a little bit of what he had to say that he saw.
He came out, he was throwing hats, riling up the crowd. He took his first question, which was, I have to catch my breath trying to run into the house here.
He's very, very, very rattled.
He took a first question, which was a religious question. And then he got to the second question, which was about 30 minutes into his presentation, 2:30 local time. And the question was about transgender shooters, mass killings, versus people that weren't transgender. And when that happened, when that question came out, and he's going to have the interaction, one shot. I was watching Charlie. I can't say that I saw blood. I can't say that I saw him get hit, but I did see him fall immediately backwards into his left. And I can just hope and pray that somehow he survived that.
And again, our reporting at this hour is that he may not have survived that attack. It's such a tragic thing. I don't know what to say. These are troubled times. We, incidentally, at the same time, we have a shooting that was being reported at a high school in Jefferson County, Colorado, just outside of Denver. 3 people said to be critically injured in that. These are tough times that we're in right now, and a great deal of anger in America. There truly is.
No doubt. And we're getting some sources out on social media platforms that are now confirming what we heard about 10 minutes or so ago, that Charlie Kirk did not survive the shooting. And we are saddened to report that he has passed away at the age of 31, leaving behind a wife and children. 31 years of old. I mean, and you know, and it seems like Charlie was on the scene for so long because he started so early. I mean, and you knew. I mean, I remember when I first saw this, you know, young whippersnapper. You know how it is, Brian. These young bucks, and I'm like, oh, what is this wet behind the ears kid know? And then you started listening to him at 19 and 20 years of age. And you're like, this guy's wise beyond his years.
He's got it. Yeah, and you know, the thing about Charlie Kirk is that he was a happy warrior. He could engage with people and talk about difficult issues, but not make it personal. He wasn't vitriolic. He was just logical. He just laid out facts and just let the facts lay there. And he always had this amazing mind to organize facts and to make an argument that was incredibly persuasive. The guy was just gifted in that regard, and so powerful. And so one thing I will not broker during this story is anybody suggesting that he was a hateful communicator. Because he was anything but.
That's right.
He was very positive. He was uplifting. He did not engage in an argumentative debate. He just, hey, I hear you. Thank you. I appreciate your point of view. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? He would just bury somebody in facts. And that's what made him so effective. But he was not somebody who was an angry voice in the conservative movement. Not at all.
No, I mean, he created anger because people didn't like what he had to say. But, I mean, that's what America is built on. Donald Trump has spoken on this issue. The president of the United States of America has taken to Truth Social. And I will read the post confirming what we sadly know. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he's no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you.
All three of the four major cable news networks are now reporting that he's dead.
Brian, I fear what is to come out of this because this feels a very assault. I understand that Charlie Kirk was not an elected figure, but he was one of the most prominent voices within the conservative movement. And as you say, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, if there is a Mount Rushmore of individuals that were responsible for the reelection of Donald Trump in 2024, I would suggest that Charlie Kirk is on it because he motivated the online youth movement in America that got behind Trump. And so it feels like an attack on the very fabric of the nation that brought Trump into office. It feels like an attack on our representative republic.
I think there is a tremendous chasm in America today. People who are, I think, people. If you're a liberal and a leftist and maybe even a socialist or someone of that ilk, you've got to be. It's hard for you to sit there and watch things and see it happen, but that doesn't give you the right to strike out in this way. In America, you can have an opinion. We fight our battles, in the political arena, and the winner wins and the loser loses, and that's the way it is. There have been many times when conservatives were on the losing end of some of these political battles.
I mean, we fought. I mean, we were there in 2020. You remember it as well as I do. I was in Birmingham, and you were here, Brian, when there were a lot of disillusioned conservatives and Republicans out there. A lot of them.
But it doesn't give you the authority to go out there and act in a violent way. But you're right about this. I think we're getting into a place right now where you have to ask the question about mental health. I mean, somebody who does this is not with us, the way they should be. They are troubled individuals. You've got to say it's a mental case. I mean, what in the world could anybody logically think this was the right thing to do if they're thinking right? You can't have those kinds of thoughts. You can't carry out an action about this unless you are mentally deranged, in my opinion. And we've got to do something about that in this country. We have to. We are really lacking, I think, in that area.
100 times over what Brian Wilson just said. I mean, 100 times over. All right, Brian, I'm going to slip to a break. I'm going to keep you on standby. Jump in here if you see or hear anything in the news cycle. I know we need as many eyeballs as possible on the breaking news situation that's going on today as we continue to cover the news that 31-year-old Charlie Kirk has died from injuries sustained by a gunshot wound. An assassin's bullet took him down at Utah Valley College in Orem, Utah. More in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We thank our fine sponsors of the Matt Murphy Radio Show, folks like U.S. Pest, Erica and J.K. Brister. I've had the privilege of not only being associated with Erica and J.K. through U.S. Pest, but also I call them friends. And I know how much they love the United States of America. I know how much they love our ability to freely associate with our families and friends, etc. And I know they hate bugs. And they're there for you in a time where you might need pest control service. They're simply the best when it comes to pest control, 100% money-back guarantee on all things that they do, from full-service pest control to termite protection to crawl space service. And we thank them for everything they do in that regard. And now is a great time to think about pest control because the bugs are going to be coming in your house pretty soon as the weather starts getting cooler. So go to uspest.com, uspest.com, or call 590-1260, 590-1260. And we also thank them for being great Americans. I love the fact that when I drive by a U.S. Pest billboard, you'll see them from time to time around town. You'll see that beautiful American flag flying high above. That's what it's all about. U.S. Pest and uspest.com.
Conservative activist, commentator, and podcaster Charlie Kirk has died after getting shot at a Turning Point USA speaking event in Utah today. Also, we have clarification on a suspected shooter. That person's still at large. Full report coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Shooter still at large. There was, as often is the case, there was some confusion. There was an individual that was taken briefly into custody, and we're now told that that person and a photograph of this individual was circulating the internet as the shooter or as the individual responsible for the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. It was a older man, balding on the top, white ring of hair around his head. Well, it turns out that that person was not the shooter. And now it is believed, as Ken just mentioned, that the shooter is still at large. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 3 minutes until 4 o'clock. Quick programming note and a note to all of you. We will open up the phone lines in just a moment, take some of your calls at 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. You can also super text the show at the same telephone number if you choose not to go online on the phones, but I want to hear from all of you. Now, we were planning on having John Tigan, known as Tig, one of the individuals at the CIA annex. It wasn't called an embassy. It wasn't officially an embassy in Benghazi. It was a post, a command post. But this was the annex. You might know the story of Benghazi and the 13 hours that these individuals spent locked down at the annex trying to save the lives of our ambassador, Christopher Stevens, and others. We are going to tell that story. We're not going to do it today. We're going to focus in on this breaking news story right now. I spoke to David, and obviously he completely understands David Corlew with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. So we might be doing that later on today, or we might hold off until tomorrow. We will be broadcasting live from City Winery tomorrow all afternoon. Starting at 3 o'clock, we'll be broadcasting live. I bet that was me. Yeah, it was. Just be be aware of that and understand that if you want to go, I have an opportunity for you to go, and I'll share some of that with you a little bit later on. I think I have a set of tickets to make available to you for the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project Patriot Awards dinner happening tomorrow night at 5:30. At the City Winery. There's going to be a celebration of life for Bernie Kirk, who passed away this year. Obviously, the New York City Police Commissioner during the time of 9/11. Tomorrow is, after all, 9/11. And we will also celebrate and honor those brave heroes that were in Benghazi on September 11th, 2012. Is that right? Gosh, man, oh man, how time flies. And we'll do that at a later time, but we're not going to do it right now. So if you're just joining us, just getting in your automobile, just turning on your radio, just turning on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Twitch or Rumble or iHeart or Spotify or wherever you can find us, the news is grim, friends. Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, was an incredible young voice of conservatism in the United States of America. He was a clear voice, and he spoke to anyone and everyone that would listen and would engage. He was a symbol of the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. And he has been killed, assassinated by an individual in Odom, Utah. He is dead at the age of 31. We'll continue our coverage. Ken Weaver in the newsroom, Matt Murphy here, Brian Wilson is with us as well on this breaking news story amongst the rest of the team. And we'll continue covering it with you, and we'll speak to you in just a moment as we open up the phone lines and get your thoughts on where we go from here. It's 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And conservative activist, commentator, and podcaster Charlie Kirk has died after getting shot during a Turning Point USA speaking event at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah today. ABC News has this from a witness.
I looked down when it happened, but so basically I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder, but I just saw it hit him in the chest, and then all of a sudden just tons of blood gushing right out where his heart is.
We also see reports the suspected shooter is not in custody. University officials later clarified that a person had been detained, but it was determined to not be the gunman. Pierre Thomas has more from the Justice Department.
This moment where neither the left nor the right is being spared in terms of being the targets of this politically motivated violence is one that has the complete attention of law enforcement officials and state and local law enforcement officials, federal as well. And the question is what to do about it. We are now hearing from people saying that we're going to have to reassess outdoor events involving controversial figures, political figures.
President Trump posting to Truth Social, the great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and family. Charlie, we love you. That from President Trump. Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. Stay with SuperTalk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. Meanwhile, in Colorado, multiple students injured after an active shooter at a high school in Evergreen.
It's not believed there is a threat any longer, but after the shooting, police moved in to clear all of the classrooms at Evergreen High School in the foothills west of Denver. Law enforcement saying 3 students were transported to a hospital. At least 2 students were victims. Sources saying the shooter was, quote, engaged and neutralized, end quote, meaning stopped from shooting. It's in the same county where the shooting at Columbine High School unfolded in 1999.
That's Alex Stone reporting. We had a new look today at the economy with the release of the latest producer price index from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The PPI, which measures prices at the wholesale level, dropped 0.1% last month compared to the month before. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze taking a look at the numbers.
This is better than expected when you're thinking about inflation, especially those wholesale prices. So this is what businesses pay for products before they then sell them to you. And we look at that really closely because it kind of says what's in the pipeline. If those prices are going up, might mean that prices for consumers are going up too. So a drop is welcome news when you're thinking about the outlook for prices that we might all pay. 0.1%, the expectation had been an increase of 0.3%.
So the consumer price index, which tracks prices you pay, is due out tomorrow. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, so we have some spots where you're having to come to a complete stop. It is both east and westbound, the South Loop downtown, then northbound 65 there on the North Loop up to 24. Then again, eastbound 24, complete stops after you get past the 440 interchange. Got one crash reported by police, 24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show. It is a Wednesday edition, September 10, 2025. It's episode 881 of our gatherings together on Super Talk. Whether you're listening on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, or perhaps on Talk Television, we thank you for that. That's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We're on a variety of platforms, and we thank you. Perhaps you're listening on your radio on 99.7 FM. We thank you for that as well. Sad news, if you're just joining us on radio or just joining us on any of those platforms and perhaps have not been around a communication device, I have sad news for you. Earlier today, it was breaking news that Charlie Kirk at an event, at a Turning Point USA event in Utah, at Utah Valley University, was shot during an event that he holds. He held these events on college campuses all across the United States of America. And during the event, about 30 minutes into the event, he was shot from long range by what we believe to be a rifle. It was believed to be from a distance of roughly 200 yards. He was hit in the neck, and sadly, Charlie Kirk did not make it. He died after being taken to the hospital and after resuscitation efforts failed. He was 31 years of age. He leaves behind, of course, a beautiful wife, Erica, and children. Our thoughts, prayers, hearts go out to his family, his circle of friends, and all of the United States of America. I have no idea where we go from here. It occurred to me while we were listening to the top of the hour news with Ken Weaver, and Ken Weaver's back in the newsroom. He's going to break in with any breaking news that we get from this story. It is the big story of the day, and I'm going to get to your telephone calls in a moment if you have any thoughts on it at 615-737-9986. And obviously, the entire team at Super Talk is communicating with one another on this story and using our sources to try to get as much information as possible to you, the listening public, the viewing public. It is especially heinous. Obviously, it goes without saying that political violence is unacceptable. It always has been. It always will be. What I will not cotton to, as my grandpa used to say, is this idea that we need to turn down rhetoric. Rhetoric and violence are two very, very different things. The America that I know and love was founded on rhetoric, political rhetoric, heated political rhetoric, hot political rhetoric, strong disagreements on the formulation of the United States of America and on the execution of the basic philosophical document that created the bedrock of this country, our Declaration of Independence. There were a lot of very strong feelings when this country started about how best to execute the concept of freedom and liberty and guaranteeing the rights of free men. And since our inception and all throughout our history, we have debated, and very rarely has it come to violence. I say rarely because the Civil War was obviously a point in time where the United States of America could not resolve our differences, and one part of the United States of America wanted to dissolve the political bands that tied it to another, and the other part said, no, you're not going to do that, and the war between the states began, and bloodshed was spilled. What hits hardest, obviously, I mean, it's difficult to wrap your mind around the idea that Charlie Kirk was shot because of his opinions. He was killed because of his opinions. We're in the free speech business. You're a part of that. You're in the free speech business. We're all in the free speech business. It gets worse when you consider how Charlie Kirk built his life and why he founded Turning Point USA. I don't pretend to know as much as some, and I was not as close as some, even as close as our good, dear friend and colleague Chris Hand, who knew Charlie. But Charlie built the brand from his teenage years by standing on college campuses and engaging with people that disagreed with him with a smile on his face. Not in an angry way. He said, no, I think differently, and it's okay that I think differently, and you've been brainwashed to believe that it's not, but it is. Everything that Charlie Kirk stood for was about your ability to disagree with him. That doesn't mean that he doesn't think you're wrong. Of course he does. That doesn't mean that he doesn't want to turn you to his position. Of course he does. But he built everything that he was about based on the fabric that started America, and that was a good faith effort to engage in civil political disagreement and debate in the public square, literally on the campus, in the public square of the campus of colleges around this country. And so on the one hand, a man is dead. And the nation mourns, and more to the point, his wife and his children will never have their husband and their father, and we will not have that voice again. But on the other hand, this shoots through the heart of the very fabric of America, and I don't want to hear that he was angry or heated in his rhetoric. He had strong position on issues. Thomas Jefferson had strong political position on issues. John Adams had strong political positions on the issues. Abraham Lincoln had strong positions on the issues. And on and on and on it goes. Of course he did. But he built his life. The entire Turning Point USA platform was the concept that I'm going to go to where I know people disagree with me, and I'm going to engage with them in a polite and civil manner. And we might agree when we come away from that, and we might disagree when we come away from that, but that's what America is all about, is presenting differing points of view and challenging you to listen to my point of view and being challenged to listen to yours. And maybe learning a few things along the way and recognizing that it's okay to disagree. It's okay to be angry at the other guy because they have a different opinion than yours. We can still live together as Americans. We can still work together as Americans. And I don't know if that's true anymore. Does anybody else feel like we're going through a national divorce? I'm willing to talk to anybody. Anybody. I have made it a point, and it's just been inside of me in the 25 years now that I've been doing this radio format, that I'll talk to anybody about anything, as long as it is of interest to the people that I serve. That's you, right? So I don't care what letter you have behind your name. I don't care where you're coming from a political or socioeconomic background or ethnic background or whatever. Let's go. Let's engage. That's what it's all about. And I got to tell you that certainly the last 2 years, but I would suggest more like the last 5 or 6 years, people on the political left don't want to have those discussions anymore. And I don't know how to fix that. I wish I was smart enough to understand. I know Charlie spent his life trying to bridge that divide. And some sicko bastard killed him. So where do we go from here? I'm not going to be like them. I'm not going to become them. I don't know how to bring them back. Do you? They're the ones engaging in violence, not me. I'm still sitting here. I'm still waiting for the discussion. And if Charlie were alive, he'd still be waiting for the discussion and waiting for the debate and waiting for the next point that you're going to make. And maybe disagreeing like hell with you on that point and hugging your neck afterwards. I'm not the one that's gone crazy. I'm not the one that's changed. And there are a lot of people that have a lot of answering to do in this country. But I'm not going to fall for the trap, the emotional trap that has been set right now. And I strongly beg of you not to fall for it either. I beg you not to fall for the trap. I know you're mad. I know you're angry. You're angry as hell. I don't blame you. There are people in America today that are begging for more violence. And we have to tell them no. We win because we have better ideas. We win because we have better solutions. We win because we believe in the Founding Fathers. We win because we believe in the words of the Declaration of Independence. We win because we agree that people get to live a life of their choosing in America. And so long as they're not taking action to violate the rights of me and of our fellow men, they get to do that. They get to be as wrong as they want to be. Don't fall for this trap. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. We'll get to your calls in a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. The Patriot Awards dinner is tomorrow night. We're so proud to be associated with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project and this awards dinner that's happening at City Winery with doors opening at 5:30 tomorrow. I hope you have your tickets. And if not, I have a website where you can go and find said tickets. And I think there's 1 or 2 available, and we would love to see you tomorrow night. We'll be broadcasting live from the event. The bottom line is this, that the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project is an organization started by Charlie and David Corlew, designed to help support our veterans and our heroes that are reintegrating from service to civilian life. And that still occurs on a daily basis. The organization was co-founded in 2014, and they still do such fine work today. The Patriot Awards dinner is on September 11th, making it particularly poignant as we honor Bernie Kirk, who lost his life this year, the New York City police officer commissioner during the 9/11 attacks. We also honor those who survived the horrific Benghazi attacks on September 11th. Go to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Patriot Award website. That's the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project.org. The Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project.org. We invite you to go there, and we thank you to give as you can to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Friends, Dr. Brian McLaughlin has a better sleep for you. Now, if you don't know if you have sleep apnea, but you snore, you might have sleep apnea, probably do. Let's find out with a sleep test from the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Dr. McLaughlin has offices in Murfreesboro and Brentwood. It's as simple as this, friends. All you need to do is make the call that so many others have made, have the test done, and a 3D created appliance, oral appliance, like I have at my house. Now, mine's for my mouth. You can't wear mine, but you can wear yours. And when you do, it'll gently hold your jaw forward. The airway stays open. It makes breathing easy throughout the course of the night. You sleep better, you snore less, you don't bug your partner, and this is in network with most insurance in the state of Tennessee. That's what it's all about. TennesseeSleep.com is the website. TennesseeSleep.com to find out more about the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center.
We've got a full report on the murder of Charlie Kirk coming up. Also, a gunman at a high school in Colorado today. These stories and more coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, so we'll get to your calls as promised by me. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll do that in just a moment. I have several pieces of audio and video to share with you regarding some of the reaction coming out of the political left. I hesitate to do that right now. It almost feels beneath what has happened and beneath the memory of Charlie Kirk. That said, Brian Wilson's got an update for us regarding the shooter, and Brian's covering this story from his home base, and he's got a lot of eyeballs on a lot of sources that I don't. So, Brian, what do you got?
Well, it's just hard. When you're doing the show, it's hard to know what's going on.
No
And
doubt.
I'm monitoring a lot of places. The Daily Mail is reporting that the individual who was arrested at the scene, who turned out not to be the shooter, apparently was saying some very troubling things in the audience, according to the Daily Mail. He said when he was taken into custody, he was urging the crowd to shoot Charlie Kirk.
Oh, gosh.
So he was saying something that got the attention of police, and they say the shot was fired. In the days ahead, we'll see the maps and the artwork and the graphics that it lay out that whole scene, just like we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania. There's apparently a building called, I want to say, the Lucy or the Luce Center, L-O-S-E-E Center. And they say the shot came from the top of that building. I'm looking at some videotape of, I believe this is a big white building. And they say the shot was only 200 feet away, less than a football field. So it was, as we've learned in Butler, that's not much of a distance for somebody with a rifle and scope. The other thing, and I must say, I had not seen it until just a few moments ago. The close-up video of the moment when he was hit by the bullet. It may be the most troubling thing I've ever seen in my life.
Don't watch it.
And I'm going to say to people, look, you really, really honestly, I feel like sometimes we in the news business have to look at this stuff so we can accurately report to you what we know. But if you don't need to see this, don't see it. It's really quite graphic.
Yeah, it's when it was first sent to me, Brian, my first thought was, I pray to God that this has been altered or graphically enhanced in some fashion. But you're right. It is one of those situations where you can't unsee it, and it's just. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and very, very quickly, half-mast. The flags at the White House have now been lowered to half-mast, and Trump has ordered that to be the case nationwide.
Thank you, Brian. Get in here anytime you find news that is of interest. We appreciate you. Pastor Alan Jackson, who now has a show on Sunday evenings on Super Talk 99.7 WTN with the World Outreach Church. He has offered this, and I'll say this, and we'll get to calls. Pastor Jackson says, every day we have is a gift from the Lord. What occurred on Utah Valley University campus today is a sobering reminder of that. Charlie Kirk was a bold truth teller, brother in Christ and friend. What he contributed to our culture, our country, and God's kingdom during his life will live on. His words will continue to impact the generations to come. Please keep his wife, Erica, and their young children in your prayers. Pray for a supernatural comfort, peace, and guidance that can only come from God. It's well spoken. Nicholas is next. Hello, sir.
Yeah. I'm a young conservative. I'm 24, and I'm sitting here in the car, and I don't know what to do with myself. I feel like we're just I feel like there's one option. I don't think I can say it on the air, but I don't know where we go from here. Besides, it's the only thing I can think of.
Nicholas, I don't know what you're talking about, but I will say this: that violence is not where we need to go. That's what the scumbags are doing. We win in the arena of ideas. We win by forcefully and proudly communicating our belief in this country, like Charlie did. We win by honoring his memory in that way. That's my opinion.
The only thing I have to say about that is that they keep getting away with stuff like this all the time. We arrest the one person that did it, we do that, but the people that celebrate what happened to him, he's really the one that brought me into the movement, which is why this really bothered. This just really hit me. I don't think they should be able to get away with. I mean, it's free speech. They could say that, but I don't know. I don't know. This is a hard thing to take. This is a hard thing to take.
I hear you, brother. I wish I had the words to say something that would make your pain go away. I don't pretend to, Nicholas. I wish I did. I feel you, and I understand. What I hear in your voice, and tell me if I'm hearing it wrong, is you're disillusioned.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. I can't. I'm a Christian. I can't imagine, just because you disagree with somebody, I can't imagine doing that to somebody.
Well, we cannot go down that road where we respond to violence with violence. And I know that's emotionally, that's where I first went. I'm like, I said a lot of things that I can't say on the radio, right?
Right.
And you recognize that's not what Charlie stood for. He stood for an end to the violence. I mean, what I posted on my X page at Matt Murphy Show, one of the last posts that Charlie made was of that young lady in Charlotte, North Carolina, the fear on her face. And his post said simply, "America will never be the same." And that was 16 hours ago that he posted that. And I said, Charlie's now gone, and I think this is a change in America. This is a moment that we have as an opportunity, and we should not lose it through the emotional pull toward lashing back out at those that have done this to us.
I understand.
But here's what I will leave you with, Nicholas, and not to get, and I know we got to get to news, Ken, and I apologize, but Nicholas, here's what I will leave it with. Here's what I would say. You said you're 24 years old?
Yeah.
Nicholas, you are Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
Honor that. Honor that. Thank you. Every single one of you are Charlie Kirk. Every single one of us, Charlie Kirk. We are Charlie Kirk.
And stay away from the incendiary posts on social media.
Stay away. I'm not doing it, Kent. I had a list of reaction from MSNBC. I got J.B. Pritzker right now acting like an idiot.
Yeah.
Queued up and ready to go. And I don't want to do any of that because I don't want to inflame people that are already
there.
Emotionally on edge. So let me get to the news. I'm late for the news, and we'll get back to you, Dave and Larry and Buck. I pray God I find the words to help get us through this show. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. President Trump has announced that Charlie Kirk has died. The political commentator was at an event at a college in Utah earlier today when a single shot rang out, striking Kirk in the neck. Utah police say the suspect is not in custody. Kirk founded the conservative youth organization, Turning Point USA, and was giving a speech at Utah Valley University, about 40 miles south of Salt Lake City. ABC's Selena Wang has more on Kirk.
He has this massive following online, millions of followers, one of the most powerful and influential MAGA podcasters. He has sway over parts of the president's base, especially with young supporters of the president. He has used his influence oftentimes to back the president in various policy decisions, but he's also been critical of the president as well when it comes, for instance, to the president's handling and his administration's handling of the controversy around Jeffrey Epstein.
Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. And real quick, we're monitoring reports after a shooting at Evergreen High School in Colorado. This is about 40 miles west of Denver. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says at least 3 teenagers, all believed to be students, were critically wounded. They're in the hospital undergoing surgery as I speak. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, looking at the drive out there, we've got the slowdown in the usual places. You're coming to complete stops if you are eastbound East Loop downtown, also eastbound South Loop downtown, then northbound 65 to get to the South Loop. I mean, you are coming to complete stops, but that's usual for this time of day. We have a crash on I-24 eastbound at Murfreesboro Pike and another one in Madison. Police say this is 65 southbound at Briley Parkway. That's exit 90AB. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. And, I got to tell you a little bit about advanced hair. I got to tell you that advanced hair works, and I know that it works because I've seen this technology with my own eyeballs. If you're losing your hair and you need a simple solution that works, you want the best, most modern technology. Modern technology with top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need advanced hair restoration. They've completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to the unmatched results. If you have a receding hairline, a bald spot, thinning hair, address them with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed environment with the most experienced professionals. Advanced Hair has performed tens of thousands of these incredible breakthrough treatments. And get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one in Nashville can offer anything like the advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair, and I highly recommend the team. It starts with your free consultation. Call 629-348-HAIR, 629-348-HAIR. If you qualify, you'll also get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration, 629-348-HAIR. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. As promised, we turn to our phone lines. 41 minutes after the hour. By the way, no nincompoops today, obviously, as it is a somber, it's been a somber afternoon, and I don't know where we go from here. Conservative activist, talk show host, podcaster, and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, is dead at the age of 31, killed by an assassin's bullet. That individual is not in custody. There were original reports, as Brian Wilson related and Ken Weaver has related from the newsroom as well, that an individual was in custody. It turned out that person was not responsible for the shooting. And we've really got no idea where we are in terms of tracking that individual down. We saw initial reports that the shot came from some 200 yards away. Brian Wilson just reported from his sources that it was more like 200 feet. Now, once again, all of this is very fluid information, and in the modern era, we get information faster than ever before. It is at our fingertips and oftentimes wrong. So we try to filter that in real time. Sometimes we filter it out. Sometimes certain aspects of a story will creep through. And what we try to do is make you aware, hey, this is something that we're not exactly sure of. These are our sources. This is what they're saying. Things could change. That's all we can do. We get back to your calls and to Jeff, who is next. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Appreciate you guys taking my call.
Of course.
I'm really frustrated at this, and I know you guys on the radio can't. You're trying to calm the public, and you're trying to keep everybody calm, and that's the right thing to do. But with the politicians on the Democrat side, why can't they be held to a same standard as what you guys are held to, as far as not going out and trying to entice people to commit violence?
Well, here's what I will say, since you brought it up, because I have it pulled up. Do you want to hear it?
Yes. Yep.
Kamala Harris. I'm deeply disturbed by the shooting in Utah. Doug and I send our prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Let me be clear, political violence has no place in America. I condemn this act, and we must all work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence.
Okay, but that's after the fact.
I understand.
Before the fact.
No, I understand. No, these are the same folks, and here's where I will go, and here's where I will agree with you, Jeff. And I could go on. Zohran Mamdani has one that he's put out. I was collecting them here. There's several other. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has one that she's put out, and they're all saying the same thing. But here's the thing. When you preach for the last, 7, 8 years that democracy is in peril, right? When you explain to the American people and your voting population that democracy's on the ballot and that you use this sensationalized rhetoric about how the other political side, right? There's us and them, right? And the other political side presents an existential threat to democracy. And you characterize it as desperate times. Times are desperate, they said, right? And then when that doesn't work, because that's what they were doing, 2020, the election cycle there was all about COVID. And in 2024, it was all about desperate times and democracy's on the ballot and Trump's an existential threat to the world, right? That didn't work. Trump won. We didn't buy that. So now what they've been saying is that violence is justified to stop an existential threat. And so you go from desperate times to desperate measures. And that's what I need to see condemned. I need to see a reflection on action points that have been made by the political left over the last 12 to 18 months regarding what needs to be, quote unquote, done because of Trump. What do you think, Jeff?
Right. Well, I think that's a start by holding them accountable. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that they feel emboldened that they can do it anytime they want to. As far as the congresswoman from California telling everybody to go out and riot and to push against the ICE department, they do it without restraint. And then people go out and they throw rocks at the police officers, and nothing is done. The local politicians or the mayor of the sanctuary cities say we're not going to prosecute anybody for that. I think that's all against the law, and I think those politicians should be held responsible for that.
I hear you, and I understand you, Jeff, and we will continue this discussion point. We'll get back to calls in just a moment. Brian Wilson joins us right now. He is monitoring all of the sources that he has at his fingertips and everything going on in the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What are your thoughts, Brian?
Well, I've got some information. There was a petition that was being run at the university there in Utah prior to his arrival, trying to get the administration at the school to cancel the speech by Charlie Kirk. And some of the comments that have been left there, I mean, I have a feeling these folks are going to get a visit from the FBI. Kevin on the petition wrote, "Stuff like this is why political violence exists in the U.S. You should be ashamed of yourselves." Let's be clear, said Andrew. You could take all of the politics out of this conversation. You would be left with a reprehensible human being who only exists to irritate and upset people. And then there's this from someone who identified themselves as Carter, posted just 6 hours ago. No tolerance for Nazis like Kirk. Stop the speaking or someone else will.
Wow. Yeah, you got it. You got to visit all of those people, right?
And
particularly
a lot of
that
comments
last
from
one.
people of the gay and lesbian community who were not happy about it. So there was a little controversy. There was a kerfuffle. To their advantage, to their I think the proper thing for them to do at the university was to have the thing go forward, and they did. But there was this thing floating around, and there were people on campus who were not happy. But I think that's probably true anywhere that Charlie Kirk goes. But this comment from Carter is a little troubling.
No question about it. Thank you, Brian, for that info, and we'll continue checking in with Brian all afternoon long. 49 after the hour. I want to slip one more in here. A lot of folks want to talk. Larry is next up with a comment about the death of Charlie Kirk. Hello, Larry.
Hey, Matt. Bear with me.
Take your time, buddy. Take your time.
When I heard that he had been shot, I was in tears. I was praying. And then when you guys reported that he had passed, I prayed for his family. And I posted on Facebook, please pray for Charlie's family. He has passed. I got a response from a liberal friend that I've known since high school that said that's why only police officers and military should have guns. And I said, I responded and I said, not one of my guns has ever jumped out of my safe and shot anybody. And her response was, well, you're one of the few. And that was, I just thought that was such an ignorant comment at this time. Because I don't ask for prayers.
Yeah, I can't understand how some people jump over their humanity right into the political arena. I don't understand it sometimes, Larry.
I don't want I don't want any liberal killed.
No, I don't either. If you are not directly putting another human being in harm's way, and it is not an act of self-defense, I don't want anybody killed.
No. But
Anybody.
that just, I mean, and of course she got a lot of blowback for that. But
well, hey, Larry, can I? You're not just a listener of the show and a caller of this show. I consider you a friend. Can I talk to you as a friend for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Don't stay off social media for a little bit.
Well, I'm going to have to.
Yeah, I love you, buddy, and hang in there.
All right, love you too.
All right,
thanks, man.
And just y'all, I joke all the time about the X machine. I say, oh, it's a cesspool full of awful people saying awful things, and I love it. Ha ha ha! And y'all hear me? Yeah, the first half of that is true. It is. Anonymity.
It absolutely is.
Y'all listen to what I'm about to say. I've been saying this for years. Anonymity breeds cruelty.
Yes, sir.
And the ability to be anonymous or the perception of anonymity on social media breeds cruelty. It creates cruelty in people. And they come out of the woodwork to be cruel. So y'all just be careful and navigate carefully if you're on social media right now. We will continue to navigate your calls, your emotions, and your thoughts. It is 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Alpha and Omega. If you have a computer system in your place of business, you need to be protected because computers are not just a convenience anymore. They're a necessity. And if your computers go down, what do? You call Alpha and Omega. That's what you do, especially if you're under contract with them. They want to be your next IT contract because they protect you. Now, obviously, they're going to take care of your computer systems and your email systems and your data center and everything that involves itself with your computer operating system, like printers and whatnot. But most importantly, they're going to protect you when it comes to servers and cyber security. That's what it's all about, folks, because ransomware attacks happen every single day, and you could be the next target if you're not protected. Go to Alpha and Omega's website to find out more at ANO.net, A&O.net. See, that A&O stands for Alpha and Omega, ANO.net, or call 615-784-0096, 784-0096 for Alpha and Omega. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Folks, if you're in pain, not a lot else matters, right? If you are in debilitating pain, whether it's your back, your neck, your knees, your hips, your elbows, wherever it hurts, friends, the Wellness Institute of Nashville is here for you. And they understand how to solve that pain without considering surgery, without continuing pill popping or spinal injections. And if you're doing these things, I would encourage you to go see Dr. Mitch, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They can help. How does spinal or non-surgical spinal decompression work? It's simple. The spinal decompression heals the disc by opening it up so blood, nutrition, and hydration can get to the area and heal the spinal disc and nerve. Knee decompression is very similar. And right now they have the Big Daddy Trump special, $12 for a comprehensive examination, x-rays if needed, a well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment. Call 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, or online at painisbad.com, painisbad.com.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Conservative commentator and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, has died. President Trump first announcing his death on social media. Kirk was shot during an outdoor speaking event at Utah Valley University. Witnesses described what they heard.
Everyone got down. Everyone was so scared. I heard a loud bang, which I figured a shot would be a little bit louder. Just one shot straight into Charlie Kirk.
ABC's Aaron Katersky says the suspect remains at large.
There was security with Charlie Kirk. His visits on campuses across the country are often controversial. It appeared to us to be about 5 or 6 individuals making up his security detail. Often they're scanning the crowd for weapons at close range, maybe not something off in the distance. And it was his private security detail that appeared to carry Charlie Kirk from the scene, race him away from campus.
Kirk was 31 years old. This is ABC News.
And again, the killer is still on the loose. Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. Multiple high school students injured after an active shooter at a high school campus in Jefferson County, Colorado today. It's the same county where the 1999 shooting at Columbine High School unfolded.
It was just after noontime when 911 in Jefferson County became flooded with calls of an active shooter at Evergreen High School west of Denver. Jackie Kelly with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says 3 children were found shot, critically injured on campus. They believe one of the 3 was a shooter. Another student was transported with an unknown injury.
This is the scariest thing you could ever think that could happen. And these parents were really frightened, and so were the kids.
Investigators say they'll be carrying out search warrants of the student's home and locker. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Money news, the producer price index out this morning showing an unexpected drop in prices at the wholesale level. The report put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics says prices pulled back by 0.1% in August compared to July. Prices compared to a year ago were up 2.6%. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze says this comes ahead of a meeting next week of the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee, now expected to cut interest rates.
This report really does keep the Fed on track to cut interest rates next week. Largely expected to have the first interest rate cut in quite some time. So that would be welcome news for a lot of borrowers out there talking about credit card debt, auto loans. We already are seeing mortgage rates go down in anticipation of that.
NASA now says they've discovered signs of ancient microbial life on Mars.
The Perseverance Mars rover has been exploring the red planet for the last few years, and now, according to NASA, it's discovered a rock that contains possible signifiers of life. Transportation Secretary and Acting NASA Director Sean Duffy.
This very well could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
NASA says the only way to confirm the findings is to return the sample to Earth. The Trump administration has recommended cutting the funding to the program that would handle that return mission. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. You are coming to a complete stop right now if you're 440 eastbound to 65, and it doesn't get any better once you get past 65. Complete stop and go all the way over to 24, and then eastbound 24 from 440, you're coming to complete stops as well. Same goes for the northbound North Loop, and then eastbound East Loop, and then east and westbound South Loop downtown, northbound 65 up to the South Loop. In Almaville, Highway Patrol reporting a crash 840 eastbound there at exit 47. And in Madison, police say there's a crash 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway, exit 90AB. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is just after 5 o'clock, 7 minutes past 5. Many of you joining us in your automobiles, just getting off work, turning on your radios. We thank each and every one of you for being there. I wish I had better news. If you've been away from the news cycle for the last several hours, we've got some catching up to do. There's been breaking news this afternoon out of Utah. We've got many of you on the telephones, and we'll get to your calls momentarily. I am told that there is a press conference that is coming at some point this afternoon, evening, and we will cover that for you live as soon as we get it. There are a lot of different aspects of a breaking news story that we broke earlier today during the Chad Benson Show on Supertalk 99.7 WTN, and that is that Charlie Kirk, political commentator, founder of Turning Point USA, a friend of conservatives and really Americans everywhere, and certainly an ally of the President of the United States of America, was shot and assassinated earlier today in Utah at the campus of Utah Valley University. The assailant, the suspect, is not in custody. There is still a search, a manhunt ongoing as to finding the identity of the individual and bringing that person or persons into custody. There are a number of online videos showing someone or something on top of one of the campus buildings. I'm aware of those videos, several of you sending those to me. We're aware of those videos, and there's some concern that perhaps this individual was on top of a building, and obviously, one way or the other, the search is ongoing, and the situation remains fluid. Charlie Kirk was 31 years of age. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children, his wife Erica, and his 2 young children, and obviously, I don't know what you do with that, but I will say this. There are a lot of emotions going on right now in the United States of America, a lot of questions about where we go from here. I pray that we do not fall into the trap of returning violence with violence, although I understand the emotions of that right now, and I'm not dismissing any of those emotions, and I'm here to talk about some of that. Sadly, we cannot even agree at a time of grief. I'll share this with you. Earlier today, and there's some silence involved in this, but if you're watching on Supertalk TV, you can see some of the silence filled. This was the scene earlier today with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson taking to the podium in the House of Representatives.
The chair would ask that all members present in the chamber and those in the gallery please rise for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk and his family.
And it starts out as a somber prayer, and you'll hear silence for the first portion of it.
For what purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Shh. Let's wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
Yeah, it sounds like she said something nasty.
The House will be in order.
So there is the Democrats objected to a verbal prayer at the time that it sounded like someone was calling for a verbalized prayer for Charlie Kirk, and the Democrats began objecting to that. Even in this moment, we cannot agree to grieve what was clearly a political or a politically motivated assassination. You can pull that down now. I think thank you. Very good. And we did it. We managed to do that for the first time. This was a political assassination. There's no question in my mind. Obviously, it remains to be seen who the killer was and what the motivation was, but I see no other explanation than the obvious one, that this was an assassination designed to stop political speech, to stop what is the bedrock of the United States of America, and that is the free exchange of ideas. That's what Charlie Kirk was all about, as I said last hour. It's what he represented. And there can only be so much of the political rhetoric from one side on this with regard to existential threats and existential crises before some lunatic believes that they are acting in some self-interest or nationwide interest. These discussions have to be had. 615-737-9986. I want to thank all of my colleagues at Super Talk, to include Brian Wilson, who's been joining us from time to time this afternoon. Obviously, Ken Weaver's on top of this story as well. I've been in communication with Chris Hand. I'm feeling for Brother Hand right now. He knew Charlie Kirk. He was friends with Charlie Kirk, works at Turning Point USA, friends with so many of these folks that have been directly, dramatically impacted and affected. We've all been affected, but we're thinking about Chris Hand right now. Dan Mandis and I have been in communication as well, and we're all touched. This is a touchstone, folks. When political, I genuinely cannot tell you. Obviously, the assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life was dramatic, but it failed, thank God. What are we talking about here?
But then it took an innocent man's life.
An innocent man's life. We're talking about, I'm just trying to put this into context. We're talking about Martin Luther King Jr., right? We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy in California. That's what we're talking about in terms of turning points in the United States of America. When you begin seeing individuals politically assassinated because of their points of view and because of their ability to initiate change in this country in a manner that obviously some people don't like, that's the type of thing we're talking about right now. Buck is next up. We're going to get to as many of you as we possibly can. You're the most important voices right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Buck.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call. Man, this world is broken. It has been broken since the beginning of time. In the Old Testament, it started off with the actual sons of Adam and Eve. Cain slew Abel. They were killing each other back then. If you read the Old Testament, it's shocking. It's basically a killing field. It's horrible. And then you have this deal with the killing of Charlie Kirk. The young lady, I saw her, the video on her, and it was the most and Charlotte was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. It just, I can't ever get that out of my mind. It was just pitiful. And as far as the left and the right, we're never, ever going to agree. Never. It's not going to happen. Satan roams the earth seeking those whom he can devour. And he's got a bunch of them. If you look in the Bible, there's a whole lot more going that way than to heaven. And all I can say is you need to live a humble and kind life, treat others the way you want to be treated, and know Jesus. We can't change this. The world's broken. It's never going to change. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Buck. Thank you. Gretchen is next. Hey, Gretchen.
Hi. My opinion might be a little bit different than some of the others that callers have given. Honestly, I'm pushing 50. I know who Charlie Kirk is. I didn't actively follow him. Knew that he was a conservative Christian, but I do have a son who's followed him, and it was really upset. And I really hope and pray that the opposite will happen as far as, you had mentioned that we don't want more violence. We don't want bloodshed in exchange for bloodshed. I really hope that this lights a fire. Like for me, I want to know more about Charlie Kirk. I want to know his legacy. I want to know what truth he was speaking that made and I agree with the previous caller. I believe that there's absolutely a spiritual component to this. What evil, why did they find it necessary to take him out? And I would really love for, instead of his voice being silenced, I really hope that this causes people like myself and, the younger generation that he really touched, I hope it causes us to rise up and really stand up for what's right. It's very easy to become complacent and go about living your life. And, myself, I've been guilty of that. I consider myself a conservative Christian, but as far as like being really vocal, honestly, I haven't been. And just seeing, I feel so hurt and just raw on the inside from seeing last night this beautiful Ukrainian innocent. It just reminds me of my children. Just slaughtered needlessly. And then my son texted me and let me know about Charlie Kirk and texted a little later and said that he had passed. And then I get in the car and turn on talk radio and I hear about yet another school shooting. And I'm sorry. It just hurts. And I just really hope that this is a turning point where, biblically it talks about, a younger generation rising up. And I really hope that these things are a catalyst towards that, towards a revival in our nation.
Amen, Gretchen. Hey, how many kids do you have?
I have 3. I've got 2 sons, 17 and 20 years old. My 20-year-old's a junior in college. 17-year-old's a senior. And then I've got a daughter who's a freshman. And it's just a different world for them.
It is. Hug them for me, okay?
I will do it.
Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to have children nowadays. Some days I wish I could. Some days I wish, or I'm glad I don't. Because the world does seem to be a different place, doesn't it?
It's a blessing and a curse, brother.
I bet so. I mean, you want the best for your children, your grandchildren, and those that, I want that too. But I don't know the connection that comes with being a father or a mother. Dave and Josh and Greg and Doug, we also have a podium that has been set up in anticipation of a potential press conference that is expected later on to give us some form of additional information regarding what we believe happened at Utah Valley College, or University, I should say. We'll continue dissecting everything and taking your telephone calls this afternoon. It's the Matt Murphy Show. You're listening to Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy, provided by folks like Savory Spice. That's what we do, right? We can only do what we do thanks to the wonderful sponsors like Holly and David and the owners of Savory Spice in Franklin. You stop by, you'll smell the smells, you'll see the incredible selection that they have of different seasonings and spices and everything that you can imagine that makes your kitchen smell a little bit better, makes your evenings or your lunches a little bit better and a little bit brighter. That's what it's all about at Savory Spice. The Spice and Easy line, make it easy. If you're a busy person and you got no time, you don't have to eat takeout every night. You can cook it yourself. Crock-pot cooking is delicious when it comes to the Spice and Easy line of products. Ask them about that when you stop by. Plus, if you have somebody that loves their way around a kitchen, and they're looking for something special in terms of a spice, or if you're looking for something for a birthday gift or whatnot, then go over to Savory Spice and say hello to Holly, David, and the rest of the crew. Savory Spice is in Franklin, just next to Grace Pharmacy, right off the square. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice.
Got a full report on the murder of Charlie Kirk. Also, an update on that shooting at a high school in Colorado. And then we had a new look today at the economy. These stories and more coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 25 minutes after 5 o'clock. Directly back to your telephone calls as we absorb the news that political commentator, talk show host, and founder of Turning Point USA was assassinated earlier today. Charlie Kirk, assassinated at the age of 31 in Utah at a college campus there, attempting to engage in free speech, attempting to engage in a direct line of communication with people that he knows disagrees with him. He would get into the arena on a if not a daily basis, certainly a regular basis, and was willing to discuss anything and everything with people that agree with him, that disagree with him. And, you know, I said something earlier to Nicholas, and I want to reiterate it now at 5:26. I know we're still absorbing this news, and even if you didn't know Charlie Kirk, you feel like you did. I mean, obviously, he was well established from the age of, 18? I think he founded Turning Point USA when he was 18. So it feels like he's been on the political scene, even longer than he has. But, I mean, it's still at the early, tender age of 31. It's just a shock all the way around. We'll get back to your calls momentarily. Brian Wilson has been with us all afternoon, helping us out in regard to finding out news sources and finding out where news is. And Brian, what do you got?
Well, a person has been arrested, according to FBI Director Kash Patel. This is being reported by the Associated Press 1 minute ago, and that's all we really know. But the FBI Director, according to the Associated Press, Kash Patel has said that the person suspected in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk is now in custody.
The press conference, I believe. Do you have it up, Jackson? I think
I got it. I got it if you need it.
Yeah, I think Jackson's got it in there. So, Jackson, let's go to the press conference right now. Thank you, Brian Wilson. Let's go to the presser right
Safety. Today at approximately 12:20 Mountain Standard Time, political influencer Charlie Kirk was shot in an event at the Utah Valley University. He was taken by private vehicle to Timpanogos Hospital, where he later passed. The Utah Department of Public Safety will be co-leading this criminal investigation to find this killer, along with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We are working in unison with the County Sheriff's Office, the local police department, and the University Police Department, all of which have been very cooperative and fully engaged in this process. Shortly after the shooting, we did have a suspect in custody, George Zinn, but he was released from custody after we identified that he did not match the shooting suspect and was not an accurate person of interest. However, he has been booked into the county jail by Utah Valley University Police Department for obstruction of justice. We do still have an active investigation for the person of interest. This incident occurred with a large crowd around. There was one shot fired and one victim. While the suspect is at large, we believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual. This is a tragic moment in our state and in our country. As we heal, we encourage everyone who is struggling with news of the incident to call 988, our state mental health crisis line. In addition to that, our partners with the FBI will also be discussing other ways we can communicate through the public for tips and other information. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the FBI, we extend our sincerest condolences to the family and friends of Charlie Kirk. Our thoughts are also with the people who witnessed this traumatic event. We know that what you experienced was very difficult. Our thoughts are with you as well. As soon as we heard about the shooting, special agents and personnel from the Salt Lake field office responded immediately. We have full resources devoted to this investigation, including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence. To be clear, the FBI will fully support and co-lead this investigation alongside with our partners. We are working on setting up a digital media tip line, and as soon as it's established, we'll get that information out to everyone. I know there's a lot of questions. This is very much an active case, and this investigation is in its early stages. We are following all the leads and all the evidence. If anyone has any information, please report it to the FBI or local law enforcement. Thank you.
On behalf of President Tubanez, who we've been communicating with, and she's on her way back right now, I say that on behalf of Utah Valley University, we are shocked and saddened by the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk. We express our sincere condolences to the Kirk family. We grieve with our students, faculty, and staff who bore witness to this unspeakable tragedy. He was invited by the student group Turning Point USA to speak on our campus. We firmly believe that UVU is a place to share ideas and to debate openly and respectfully. Any attempt to infringe on those rights has no place here. We do not condone any form of violence at UVU and seek to make our campus a safe place for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this dark and tragic occasion. I want to thank our law enforcement officers who are leading this investigation, starting with Chief Long and his response here. with the UVU Police Department. We're grateful for your leadership and your team. And again, to the speakers that you've just heard from who are co-leading this investigation. I also want to recognize Sheriff Mike Smith, who has been an invaluable partner as this investigation moves forward. I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel. We are completely aligned with our state and federal partners as we work through this case. Now, this is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination. We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation. That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. The first one of those is life. And today, a life was taken. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a husband and a dad to 2 young children. He was also very much politically involved, and that's why he was here on campus. Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and to persuade people. Historically, our university campuses in this nation and here in the state of Utah have been the place where truth and ideas are formulated and debated. And that's what he does. He comes on college campuses and he debates. That is foundational to the formation of our country, to our most basic constitutional rights. And when someone takes the life of a person because of their ideas or their ideals, then that very constitutional foundation is threatened. Now, we have a person of interest in custody. The investigation is ongoing. But I want to make it crystal clear right now, to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you. And we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law. And I just want to remind people that we still have the death penalty here in the state of Utah.
That's Governor Spencer Cox speaking right now, the Republican governor of Utah.
We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania. And we had an attempted assassination on a presidential candidate and former president of the United States, and now current president of the United States. Nothing I say can unite us as a country. Nothing I can say right now can fix what is broken. Nothing I can say can bring back Charlie Kirk. Our hearts are broken. We mourn with his wife, his children, his family, his friends. We mourn as a nation. If anyone in the sound of my voice celebrated even a little bit at the news of this shooting, I would beg you to look in the mirror and to see if you can find a better angel in there somewhere. I don't care what his politics are. I care that he was an American. We desperately need our country. We desperately need leaders in our country. But more than the leaders, we just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be. to ask ourselves, is this it? Is this what 250 years has wrought on us? I pray that that's not the case. I pray that those who hated what Charlie Kirk stood for will put down their social media and their pens and pray for his family.
Amen.
And that all of us will try to find a way to stop hating our fellow Americans. With that, we're happy to take a few questions.
The FBI director is posting that a suspect is in custody. I would just like clarification. Do you or do you not have a suspected shooter in custody?
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now.
That is not George Zinn.
That is not George Zinn. That is correct.
Are you still searching or looking for another shooter or anybody else related to this?
Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to the shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being taken into custody? Where? How long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Do we have Can you guys talk about the possible shooter?
Do you want to talk about what we know there?
Yeah. The only information we have on the suspect, the possible shooter, is taken from closed-circuit TV here on campus. We do have that. We're analyzing it, but it is security camera footage, so you can kind of guess what the quality of that is. But we do know dressed in all dark clothing, but we don't have a much better description other than that.
Where do you think the shot came from?
The shot came from here on campus, from a location at a potentially from a roof, yes. A longer distance shot from a roof.
So to clarify, with the security camera footage you have and the person of interest that's in custody, does that match up?
That's what we're trying to decipher right now.
So did FBI or DHS have anything on the threat board this morning?
I can't speak to that.
I'll just say that the investigation's ongoing, and as soon as we have further information, we will be sure to release it.
Any indications of foreign intelligence involvement?
As of now, I can't comment on any of that.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the security of the event itself? Who was there security-wise, and what happens on these kind of events?
Chief Long.
So my name is Jeff Long. I'm the police chief here at UVU, and I'll tell you right now, we're devastated. We're a small police department. We have a very large campus. We have over 40,000 students, and we love our students. We love our visitors, and we're devastated by what happened today. This is the police chief's nightmare. I'm very saddened for the Kirk family. I know his wife and parents found out about this. Obviously he's away from home. He's here in Utah. They find out by a police officer that visits their home. That's tragic. Nobody wants that. But I can tell you about our venue today. This was an open venue. This was outside. We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance. It is sat down in kind of a bowl area here on the central campus. We have a waterfall area, and so he was kind of in a lower area, surrounded by buildings. We had some plainclothes police officers that were in the crowd as well. We train for these things, and you think you have things covered, and these things, unfortunately, they happen. You try to get your bases covered, and unfortunately today we didn't. And because of that, we had this tragic incident. So we did have officers there. We had Charlie Kirk's team. He has a security team that travels with him, and they were here with him when he was shot.
Was the gun recovered?
I'm sorry, see?
Was the weapon recovered?
At this point, I can't disclose that.
There was a question being asked about mass shooting. Was that person apprehended? And do you know who asked that question?
Say the question again. I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
When Charlie Kirk was shot, he was answering a question about mass shootings specifically. Was that person apprehended? And do you know who asked that question?
I do not. We do not have that at this moment.
What? Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for just one more question, so thank you.
Yeah.
Trying to put things together that don't belong
Was it
together.
your team or Kirk's team or a combination of both that kind of set the security protocol for the event?
So we work together. You know, he has his team, and they do this all over the country. We all know that. This is not uncommon for them. They're very comfortable on campuses, and I was coordinating with his lead security guy, and so yeah, we were working together.
Was this a sharpshooter type shot? Was this a
Ladies and gentlemen, those are all the questions that will be answered today. Again, thank you for covering this. We will be updating you as soon as we have additional information through normal channels, working with law enforcement. Again, our deepest condolences to the Kirk family and to the students who were there today. I would just ask everyone everywhere to please pray for their family and to pray for our country. We need it now more than ever. Thank you.
And so that concludes the press conference. We were just hearing from officials, including Utah Governor Spencer Cox, as well as other assembled officials. I think there was one member of the FBI there, one individual from the local police, and then the campus police chief answering questions as best as they could about one, an assailant in custody, or a person of interest, they referred to him as, in custody, would not answer a question about whether or not the gun was recovered on the scene. I think that's going to be key at some point later on tonight, because I would suggest that means to me that they did recover a gun on campus, but that's just my speculation. So what am I doing right now? Am I pitching to, am I going to Ken, or are we going to break? Going straight to break or going to Ken?
Ken.
All right, so Ken Weaver's got some traffic and got some other info from there. We're a little off kilter right now, so we wanted to carry that press conference in its entirety. It's 43 after the hour. Ken Weaver, what do you got?
Well, we're getting some crashes in addition to the usual stop and go on the way home. Right now in Madison, police say they're working a crash Gallatin Pike north south of Cumberland. Then we've got Gallatin Pike south at Due West Avenue in Madison. In Belmont, Wedgwood Avenue at 8th Avenue. Now on I-40, we've got a crash that's popped up. Police working this. This is going to be 40 westbound at Briley Parkway. That's over there by the airport. And right now, you are still coming to complete stops at time if you're eastbound 440 in between 65 and 24. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Now's the time of year that I talk out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to efficient heating and cooling. Well, what do you mean, Murphy? Well, on one side of my mouth, I'm telling you that you still need that AC. And if your AC is not working as it should, you need to call Efficient. They'll get over there and they'll make sure that it's working as best as it can for the rest of the season. If they have to replace, they will, but they don't want to do that. They want to get you through the rest of the season. Now, that's one side of my mouth. At the other side of my mouth, I'm telling you that it is time to think about maintenance your heater. Before you know it, you'll be cranking that thing up. Those cool mornings are coming. Y'all know I'm telling you the truth, and now's the time to go ahead and get that scheduled. You need to do it once a year, and it will always be $125 or less from Efficient Heating and Cooling. That's their maintenance guarantee to you. Efficient offers free financing if and when the time comes where you need a new unit, and they have an Elite Pro partnership with Rheem, and they would love to talk to you about which unit is right for you. EfficientHVAC.net, EfficientHVAC.net, or 615-784-4424 for Efficient. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Safe House. Nashville Safe House has the safe that you need, right? And if you don't think you need one, well, I would try to disabuse you of that notion because you do. Nashville Safe House has almost right around regularly 200 safes on the showroom floor of all shapes and sizes. They've got Browning, they've got Liberty, they've got Fort Knox, they've got Rhino. They've got the safe for you, friends, of different fire ratings and different price points. Go by and see them. And oh, don't you worry, because if you can't find the exact safe you're looking for on the showroom floor, they've got another 400 or so in their warehouse. They have a safe for you. It's their Nashville Safe House guarantee. Plus, they guarantee the best prices around. They guarantee professional delivery from one of their crews, not some third party who knows who coming into your home. They know every single person that they employ, and they employ them to deliver safes to your home. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com. That's NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Don't forget, gun safes are sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. NashvilleSafeHouse.com or 4th Avenue South in Nashville. So owner Aaron Stokes of Eurofix wants me to tell you this quote. Now, I'm telling you, he's doing this to me to try to screw me up. But here, I'm going to do the quote for you because Aaron Stokes lives by this, right? Do all the good you can by all the means you can and all the ways you can and all the places you can at all the times you can to all the people you can for as long as you can. Huh? That's what Aaron Stokes does. That's how he lives his life and operates his business for over a quarter century. Friends, Eurofix repairs European vehicles at below dealer prices. It's what sets Eurofix apart. Not just the price, but the deep commitment to quality that keeps you off the tow truck and keeps you coming back. Eurofix has clean, welcoming shops where you can actually sit down. They have a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection so you know exactly what's wrong with your vehicle before they get going on it. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all repair work performed, plus a rental car available with every appointment. 5 separate locations: Nashville, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet. 844-EUROFIX. 844-EUROFIX or online at myeurofix.com. Hey, friends, Cover Nash and Shane Ring, they want to see you. If you're worried about your health insurance, you don't know if your insurance is covering you as well as it could or should, it's time to call Shane because Shane knows. He knows insurance, and he doesn't work for any insurance company. He works for you. That's what I love about Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Plus, he understands some of the best programs available for you right now. As a matter of fact, he's instructed me to tell you about this one particular program, a nationwide PPO plan that gives you the freedom to choose your doctor anywhere in the United States of America without the headaches. It only has a $250 deductible, flat copays after the deductible, outpatient surgeries for as low as $250 in copay, and hospital stays only $1,000 copay. That's it. These are some of the details that you need to find out more about when you call Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Let Shane go over your plan and find out if you are maximizing your dollar versus what insurance you currently have. CoverNash.com, that's CoverNash.com, or call 615-465-0023, 465-0023 for our friends at Cover Nash.
Person of interest in custody in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. We've got that story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, we're going to dissect the press conference in just a moment. Well, as a matter of fact, I want to get Brian Wilson in here for a couple of minutes before we go back to the telephones and get your thoughts and feelings on everything that's going on today. Brian, we just heard a preliminary report from Utah Governor Spencer Cox amongst other assembled law enforcement officials. Your initial thoughts, sir?
Well, I had some thoughts about some of the questions. There were several questions. Do you believe there was somebody assisting the suspect? And they didn't knock that down. They didn't confirm it, but they didn't knock it down, and that caught my attention. I think the last question was a little weird, but what I think the person was asking was, at the time of the shooting, the question that had just been asked was about political shootings. And so the question was, who asked that question? Because I think that's something that the law enforcement authority should be tracking down. Look, one of the things that I'm picking up and looking at all of the information that I'm looking at here on this story is that there was a real undercurrent here. There was a petition. There were people who were upset about it. I think that happens most everywhere he goes. But there really was this undercurrent, especially from the gay and lesbian community, about this appearance. Listen, we have a suspect. Experience teaches me that the story slows down a bit now.
Yes.
You won't get a lot more information until they have, concluded their interrogation of that individual. And that may take some time. But they're not searching the city, and that would be a major story. They have a suspect. They believe they have the person in custody, and I expect that the story will sort of slow down now. But what a tragic day. What a tragic day. Yeah. And I just keep thinking, 31 years old.
Well, the
guy
two
was
young children.
Brilliant at 31. I mean, when I was 31, I was a bonehead.
Me too.
I'm
still
and I
a
look
bonehead.
at this guy
52,
and what he
right?
accomplished in 31 years, and it's astonishing. And he was so good at what he did. He was so respected. And again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. You can make an argument that he is responsible for President Trump's second term.
Yes.
Because he was actively involved in getting young people, and as we've done the number crunching after the election, young people supported President Trump in much bigger numbers than they ever had in the past, and Charlie Kirk is responsible for that. He was changing hearts and minds on school campuses, and the Democrats looked at him as perhaps one of the most dangerous conservatives out there from their way of looking at it.
No, well said, Brian. All of that very well said. One quick question on the presser before I let you go.
Sure.
Because I trust your instincts on this. When the question was asked about the gun, and they did not answer, did you retrieve the gun from an area on campus? And they said, I'm not going to answer that at that time. That, I feel like if you have no weapon, you say, I have got no weapon. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I suspect they have a weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was gotten. I will just tell you that the first thing they do before they come out and appear before the microphones is, let's not do anything that hurts any of our evidence. They have that conversation. Say what you want to say, but don't do anything that destroys. So they're not going to go into great detail because they're just in it always is the case that the police are hinky about messing something up in their investigation that hurts the trial. And there will be a trial here. So, unlike some of our other shootings, there will be a trial in this particular case. So I think they're just the cops are a little hinky about saying anything that they feel like might be a problem down the line when they go to trial.
Thank you so much for everything this afternoon, Brian. I appreciate all of your reporting from your home base, and it was invaluable to us this afternoon. Thank you, brother. Mm-hmm. All right, we appreciate it. There's Brian Wilson from his home base. We're going to continue for another hour, get your telephone calls, your thoughts and feelings on it. We got news right now at the top of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. The governor of Utah say a person of interest has been taken into custody following today's fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. The founder of the conservative group Turning Point USA was speaking at an outdoor event at Utah Valley University.
The shooting happened before a crowd of hundreds on the campus of Utah Valley University, where Charlie Kirk was kicking off a fall tour of college campuses. Kirk's on-campus events would feature him engaging with members of the audience who often espoused views contrary to his. It was during a back-and-forth on mass shootings allegedly committed by transgender people that the shooting occurred. The bullet struck the 31-year-old near his throat. Kirk's security team quickly swept in and carried him away. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News.
President Trump ordered flags at half-staff through Sunday. Both Republicans and Democrats have denounced the killing and latest political violence. The House held a moment of silence in Kirk's honor. This is ABC News.
Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. And right now in Colorado.
It was just after noontime when 911 in Jefferson County became flooded with calls of an active shooter at Evergreen High School west of Denver. Jackie Kelly with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says 3 children were found shot, critically injured on campus. They believe one of the 3 was a shooter. Another student was transported with an unknown injury.
This is the scariest thing you could ever think that could happen. And these parents were really frightened, and so were the kids.
Investigators say they'll be carrying out search warrants of the student's home and locker. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A new look today at the economy with the release of the latest producer price index from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The PPI, which measures prices at the wholesale level, dropped 0.1% last month compared to the month before. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze taking a look at the numbers.
This is better than expected when you're thinking about inflation, especially those wholesale prices. So this is what businesses pay for products before they then sell them to you. And we look at that really closely because it kind of says what's in the pipeline. If those prices are going up, might mean the prices for consumers are going up too. So a drop is welcome news when you're thinking about the outlook for prices that we might all pay. 0.1%, the expectation had been an increase of 0.3%.
Consumer Price Index, which tracks prices that you pay, due out tomorrow morning. And the popularity of 2 weight loss drugs leading to layoffs at the company that makes them.
9,000 employees at drug maker Novo Nordisk will soon be looking for work. The manufacturer announcing an 11% reduction in its worldwide workforce. The Ozempic and Wegovy maker says the layoffs will help it stay competitive in the competition over weight loss drugs.
As Sherry Preston reporting in the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still got a crash in Madison. This is going to be Gallatin Pike North, just south of Cumberland Avenue. And then on I-24 in Rutherford County, looks like police reporting a crash 24 eastbound, Old Hickory Boulevard south there at exit 62. Still got stop and go, sometimes a complete stop on 440 eastbound between 65 and 24. And then both east and westbound 40, your stop and go there in between the eastern split and downtown. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, that is your radio station. We thank you for being here, whether you're listening on TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, or any of our apps, whether you're listening on 997WTN.com, perhaps you're on Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. We appreciate you being there. Oh, Rumble as well. We appreciate you being there. Thank you so much. It is a very sad day in the United States of America. It is, I would suggest to you, a day that will live in infamy, a day that will live in the annals of history as a political commentator, podcaster, talk show host, major political figure, and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, died at the hands of an assassin's bullet at the age of 31 in Odom, Utah today, on the campus of Utah Valley University. We continue to discuss it with you on the phones at 615-737-9986. Many of you have been holding for well in excess of an hour. I appreciate that. I've got my good friend Steve Abramowitz from Heartland Journal coming in just a moment. But, Steve, I've got to I want to get to Josh. He's held for almost an hour and a half. And God bless you, Josh, for your patience. You understand today's been an absolutely crazy day, and I thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I want to thank you for taking my call. Just wanted to say, first of all, prayers out to Charlie Kirk, his family, and everyone that knew him very well. Prayers for just a supernatural healing with them, God to touch them and just bless their lives. Also, the main talking point I wanted to have was, you always hear on the news and the media, the left is always out there, gun control. Guns are killing people, all this stuff, but you come to find out all these mass shootings or these public shootings that go out there in the world, it's these leftists or like Charlie was talking about with somebody else, a transgender that's committing these atrocious foul acts. As a young conservative, I've got 2 young children. I raised them in a conservative value, a Christian value. That's very important to me. I own guns. My guns have never hopped up and hurt anybody in the world. And anybody I know that's got guns has never hopped up and hurt anybody. One of my best friends in the world, I adore him and his wife and his children. I've been best friends with him for a long time. He considers himself liberal. But we're able to sit down and have conversations with each other on different sides of the aisle, but still love and respect each other. And I think that's what this world needs to get back to, is just being able to sit down and talk like Charlie was trying to do on these universities. It doesn't matter what your viewpoint is. You're a human being. You're allowed to have your viewpoints. That's what makes us great as humans, great as Americans. You can have your own views. You can have your own stance. We can disagree on it, but yet at the end of the day, we're allowed to stand that way.
No, I mean, it goes without saying that we ought to be able to have rhetorical disagreement, debate, argument, passionate argument, Josh, without it resorting to violence of any nature, much less of a deadly one like this. And I mean, this is a seminal point. I mean, I don't mean to use, I mean, no pun intended, no play on words intended. This is a turning point in America right now. If we're going to put up with this, and I do not believe that it is wrong, I do not believe that it is improper or inappropriate to point out that the violence that I am seeing over the last couple of years in this country is coming from the political left.
I mean, that's my thing is just how long can we put up with it? I mean, as one of the young conservatives out here, I'm tired of dealing with it, but I've got a family to take care of. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to cease to defend my family or defend my rights. And I can speak for some of the people I've come to know. There's something bubbling, and it's eventually come to a head. And unfortunately, I feel like this might be it. And I don't want to see a revolution or any kind of violence come out of this, because that's not what Charlie stood for. But at the end of the day, something's got to happen to stop this.
We need to demand better. I don't know what you mean by something has to be done to stop this. Outside of, I mean, there are ways under the law that we ought to demand that people are kept behind bars. There are things that we can do under the umbrella of law and order. I am saddened that we have I mean, I'm not saying you're saying this necessarily, Josh. You're just wondering out loud. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the thought. But I'm saddened at the number of people that are saying now's the time for vigilante justice. No, now they want you to act like them. They want you. I don't
want vigilante justice. No, I don't condone vigilante
I know you weren't saying that. I know you weren't. But the question remains: what do we do? What do we do? Well, I know that I'm going to protect myself, and here's what I would recommend. First and foremost, I am the first responder, and sadly, considering that I'm an American, my political viewpoint is out there for all to hear, for all to see. I am darn sure going to keep my vigilance about me as I try to do on a day-to-day basis. And I would encourage everyone, whether you have a talk show host, have a talk show or not, if you're a talk show host or not, I mean, you've got to do that as well. The last thing that needs to be brought to the table is that how do we work extracurricular to our system of justice and the American system, our representative republic that has been set up and has worked so well. How do we work extracurricular to that? Because we've had vehement, angry, rhetorical disagreement for a long time. We've had policy disagreement for a long time. Only recently has it been the mantra of the political left that our democracy is on the ballot and that suddenly there's an existential threat to the future of the United States of America. And I would suggest that sort of language, I would not say that it needs to stop, because I don't believe in limiting your ability to freely speak. But that does not mean that there ought not to be consequences for those that are engaging in that side of the discussion. Of course there should be. Greg is next up. He's held for a long, long time. Thank you for your patience, Greg. How are you?
Hey, Matt. I'm doing good. How are you, brother?
I'm well, thank you.
I appreciate you taking my call. Charlie Kirk, I knew the name. Just let me tell you right up front. I didn't follow him physically on any apps, but I did see him a lot on different apps like X, which I see a lot of different things on that app. And I looked at the videos of some of the things that he was doing around the country at these colleges. And the man was a gentleman. That's one thing people need to realize. This guy was super at what he did. I've been in broadcasting a long time as well. And he did he did fantastic with individuals, with the young folks. He had a microphone out them to talk. He heard them speak, never interrupted, never raised his voice. When he talked back to them, he talked back to them like I'm talking to you. And he respected everyone who came up to that mic. my problem goes toward the Congress. And let me finish what I'm meaning. I see these liberal Congress women, AOC, those other ladies in her crowd, go to these crazy protests, and I'm in my early 60s, and I've watched a lot of politicians. I've been a Republican all my life. My family was, my grandfather, my father, and they had Democrats back in the early years, and they fought back and forth, but you never, in my recollection, I've never seen any of the Democrats from the past speaking and yelling on the microphones at these crazy protest outings that these crazy groups put on and get these people fired up. Well, that's a congressman. They're saying all of that. That can make somebody that's crazy even more crazy. And our problem needs to start with them people. The oath they take. I've never seen a Republican do this. They might have somewhere in the past, but I've never seen it with my own eyes. Being radical is what I mean. Everybody hearing my voice need to contact their Congress people and let them know it needs to stop. Anybody that does that needs to be kicked out of Congress. That should never happen. That's where it's all gotten to in the last 10 years. It's been going on ever since Trump came into the picture. And I'm just going to say I hate this. I saw the video. It blew me away. I just can't believe this has happened to that young man, but it happened because he was a conservative, quote unquote. He was 31 years old, and he was moving the young people to his side. And all the Democratic folks and the radicals, they were threatened by what he was doing. But Congress, people in Congress need to have integrity. They need to be a little bit more laid back than what I've seen some of these people doing. And I appreciate you giving me the time, young man. I enjoy.
Well, thank you. You held for a long time, Greg. I appreciate you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
sir.
Matt. I appreciate WTN.
Thank you very much. Not everybody agrees. 2805 says we should probably limit access to firearms to people. And in response to that caller, he said Trump should probably stop saying he may be a dictator. And then he said we need to think about what Trump did on January 6th. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Number one, what are you even talking about? Oh, you mean when Donald Trump told the crowd to peacefully protest is guaranteed a right enshrined in the Constitution of the United States to peacefully protest and petition their government for a redress of grievances? You talk about that, what Donald Trump did on January 6th? Is that what you're talking about? And don't tell me he didn't. I got the tape, pal. I mean, you want me to, today's no day for it. No, he didn't tell them to peacefully protest. He told them to fight. He told them to fight like hell, politically speaking, and he most certainly did. Go listen to the tape, buddy. And police officers did not lose their lives that day. That is a lie from the pit of hell told by the mainstream media. A police officer lost his life due to an unrelated event the day after. The only person that lost their life that day was Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer. What are you talking about? Make it up as you go along. We're going to get to Steve in a moment. Steve, hang in there. And many of your other calls. So Steve's next. Steve Abramovich, my good friend from Heartland Journal. Brian Van, Doug, Robert, and Danny. Not necessarily in that order. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Questions than answers. More questions than answers so far in the investigation into the fatal shooting of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk today. Meanwhile, we've got another story about shooting in Colorado, and then the day's closing money news coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And there are other news stories out there that pale in comparison to this huge breaking news story that started around, I don't know, local time, 1:40. I mean, when was it, Jackson? It was like 1:30, 1:40 when we were preparing the podcast.
Yeah, about 1:30.
Yeah, and we first got news of violence that had broken out on the campus of Utah Valley University. I'm going to ignore, if I'm ignoring you on the text line, I don't mean to do that. I've got a lot of telephone calls to get to, and sadly, the trolls have come out on the text line, and that is to be expected when an event like this happens. People now have found our Super Talk text line, and they think it's funny, talking about how happy they are that this happened. And you folks, you know what? You might not get your comeuppance in this life, but I assure you, you'll get it in the next. 615-737-9986, and that's for somebody else to judge, not named Matt Murphy. Our good friend Steve Abramowitz is with Heartland Journal. He covers the news for a living as well, and has a great podcast in his own right. And he joins us today on a very, very sad day. Steve, how are you?
Hey, man. Yeah, I wouldn't even have a podcast if it wasn't for Charlie Kirk. I mean, he was one of my inspirations early on before I ever said, hey, I think I could do that. A bunch of other ones, too. He was just here, by the way, in Nashville, Franklin, actually, with Pete Hegseth before the election, before Pete became Department of War head. And the guy could deliver a speech, and he could make a point. Very talented speaker. And just yesterday, we were outraged at a crazy man killing a girl in North Carolina, right? And Cracker Barrel was our big thing. And it's like the 60s, MLK, JFK, RFK. Luckily not Trump. They tried twice. So we have become a very bloody society, haven't we?
We have, and I see it coming from one side to the other right now, and I'm not suggesting that there aren't radical individuals of all political persuasions and political types, but it feels to me like there is a certain type of deranged individual that's being inspired by the language of the left, and I don't apologize for pointing that out. It's important that we note, we need to know the genesis of where this is coming from. And when they scream and yell that democracy's in danger, and if we don't do something, it's an existential threat to democracy, well, what do they think deranged individuals are going to do with that type of language?
Brother Matt, I just had the guy running for governor in Minnesota. He took on Walz 2 years ago. He's doing it again. And remember, they killed two, one the Speaker of their House. Political violence is abhorrent. I hate it. I've been railing against it since Rodney King. When Andrew Breitbart and Rush Limbaugh and Phil Valentine died, thousands of Andrews and Rushes and Phils got behind microphones. I'm one of them. Hopefully millions of Charlies will be born now of young conservatives who don't like violence, but now they just saw one of their young heroes taken as a martyr. So, I heard Brian on with you. I was on hold. Far be it for me to disagree with Brian Wilson. But I want to give Charlie more credit for not just Trump's second term that Brian gave him credit for, but his first. I remember talking to my son about Trump because he heard things about him from Charlie. He built the largest group of young political activists for the conservative cause ever. And believe me, I'm old enough to remember conservatives were not cool, right? He made it cool to be conservative after Obama, when Obama was the rock star all the kids thought was hip and cool, and did it with his brilliant arguments and faith, right? 5.4 million X followers. That is not insignificant. Van Jones has 871,000, right? He was just on CNN yesterday calling Charlie racist. So he's got some problems here. Gavin Newsom was just on a podcast making an open call for violence against the right, said, punch him in the mouth. Well, guess what? Charlie just got punched in the mouth. Are you happy about that, Gavin Newsom? So I put blame on him for Charlie. Talk like that is disgusting for a person with a microphone. You can't do it. I can't do it. Why can the politicians do it? Remember the guy that shot up the Republican baseball game was a Bernie Sanders guy? After all that rhetoric about that, Senator Mark Kelly's wife was shot, and they blamed Sarah Palin for having a campaign ad with a bullseye on it. I mean, that was patty cake compared to this, fight, 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 Trump getting shot. So political rhetoric is strong. Eric Holder, kick them when they're down. You're right. It comes from the left. It doesn't come from the right. It is ugly stuff, and it triggers the lunatics. And we've been seeing them on TV for the last 10, 15 days because they were freaking out because of Sydney Sweeney. They were freaking out because, I don't know, what did Whoopi Goldberg say this morning about the guy in North Carolina, that it's a mental illness, it's not murder. It blows my mind how far they'll go to defend this. We even have a guy here in Nashville that's willing to point out every single mistake a white person makes, calling him a Christian nationalist. That is going to trigger people.
No, I think it's well spoken, and you're exactly right. And we're going to have opportunities, and we have opportunities, thank God, and we should cherish them to speak our minds regarding where all of this comes from and how, sadly, sane people who say crazy things can plant seeds in the minds of insane people and see crazy things as a result grow. And
look what they're saying online. I mean, he had 2 young kids. He's got a wife named Erica. He was so young, born in 1993. I mean, 22 years younger than me. This is outrageous. I have his last book right in front of me right now, How We Win, Finding the Will Individually and Collectively to Fight for America. No wonder the left hates him.
Well, they hate him they did hate him because they could not beat him in the arena of ideas. Steve, I got to scoot, and I appreciate your thoughts and your commentary on it. Y'all can find Steve over at Heartland Journal. He's a good friend of the show, and he runs a great podcast over there. We appreciate him chiming in today, and appreciate all of you, Zenny and Marie and Danny and Doug and Brian. And if you have thoughts, 615-737-9986. It's 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. More questions than answers so far in the investigation into the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. As he spoke today at Utah Valley University, Republican Governor Spencer Cox calling it a political assassination, speaking on the campus there in Orem, Utah.
We have a person of interest in custody that is being interviewed right now.
Cooper then addressed other political assassinations as of late.
Our nation is broken. We've had political assassinations recently in Minnesota. We had an attempted assassination on the governor of Pennsylvania.
Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for continuing coverage on air and online. Then we had this at a high school in Colorado.
It was just after noontime when 911 in Jefferson County became flooded with calls of an active shooter at Evergreen High School west of Denver. Jackie Kelly with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says 3 children were found shot, critically injured on campus. They believe one of the 3 was a shooter. Another student was transported with an unknown injury.
This is the scariest thing you could ever think that could happen. And these parents were really frightened, and so were the kids.
Investigators say they'll be carrying out search warrants of the student's home and locker. Alex Stone, ABC News.
And money news, here's Michelle Franzen.
The Dow was down most of the day following the latest wholesale inflation report. The S&P and NASDAQ were eyeing records, then took a brief turn after the shooting of Charlie Kirk in Utah. The Dow lost 220 points. The S&P added 19. The NASDAQ gained 14 points. Investors hoping for an interest rate cut at the next Federal Reserve meeting were dismayed by the Producer Price Index, which showed that prices at the wholesale level dropped 0.1% last month compared to the month before. That drop is welcome news to shoppers, though. The S&P and NASDAQ were buoyed most of the day by Oracle after the Texas-based tech company revealed that its artificial intelligence demand is growing. The CEO announced 4 multi-billion-dollar contracts in its latest quarter and a huge jump in its cloud infrastructure revenue. Shares of the buy now, pay later company Klarna jumped 30% after the company's debut on Wall Street.
That's the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Still showing a crash in Madison Gallatin Pike North, just south of Cumberland Avenue. And then on I-24 eastbound in Rutherford County, you've got a crash reported by police. This is going to be Old Hickory Boulevard. They're at exit 62, 24 eastbound. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. I have a question for you, especially you fellows in the listening audience. Have you reached a certain age where you have the want to, but you don't know if you have the how to or the can do? Well, I've got a solution for you, and it comes in the form of the Tennessee Men's Clinic. And now they have 3 locations to serve you. One, the original, the OG, as they say, was in Midtown since 2014. The second location was opened several years ago in Cool Springs, and now a brand new location in Clarksville. 3 different places where Middle Tennessee can go get men's-centric health care. And friends, it works. Thousands of men just like you have gone in with only one complaint. And that complaint is they should have done it a lot sooner than they did. Men, if you feel like your time for intimacy in the bedroom is past, think again. Let's get you back into the game with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, that's TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, you can talk to any of their 3 locations, and it's one phone number to schedule an appointment in Clarksville, in Midtown, or in Cool Springs. That number is 615-208-9090, 208-9090, and be sure to tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Tennessee Men's Clinic. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Before we get back on the phones, we've only got about 20 minutes left in the show. It has absolutely flown by. Obviously, a sole focus of discussion, the assassination, the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's what it was. And for the life of me, I don't know why leftist media continues to talk about, well, we don't know what other motivation would there be? Exactly. Other than a political one, other than an attempt to silence someone who was exercising First Amendment rights on a college campus, what exactly was the motivation? But yet still the CNNs of the world, ABC, CBS, NBC, all of these alphabet soup networks, and I continue to see it all online. We don't know Barack Obama came out with thoughts and prayers, and he said, while we still don't know the motivation, well, what would you think the motivation would be, sir? Why don't you use the brain that God gave you and try to figure this out? So this has been going on online, and I don't know if this is something or nothing, but considering that, I want to share this with you. If you're watching on Talk TV, this is from the Utah Valley University campus, and it looks to be from the event, and I'm just sharing this with you now.
I think he'd already be in place. You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? Huh. He just ran from over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in, and now he's right there.
So they're looking at the top of the Sparks Center, it looks like. I think that's right. I'm trying to, and I'm capturing it here for you right now. You can see it. There appears to be a figure on a roof at the Sparks
over
Automotive Center.
From over there.
And I don't know if it's something. I don't know if it's nothing. I know it's a video that popped up online that appears to be someone or something on the top of the roof prior to the shots ringing out and as individuals were assembling. Now, I don't know that they had snipers on the roof. I would doubt it. I would suggest if I were betting money, I would bet that they did not have snipers on the roof. So there's that going on. You can pull that down, Jackson. We're just getting into the video on the television side of things. So bear with us. Thank you for indulging us. So, all right, let me get to Doug, who's held for a long time. Doug, thank you for your patience. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Thank you, sir, for having me on.
Of course.
My call.
Yes, sir.
Just thoughts and prayers, out to Charlie, and let's not let his voice be silenced. This has hurt my heart. I just got off the phone with my sister about 2 hours ago, and she's crying. Our country is hurt. This is, to me, I was born in 1967, so I don't remember JFK getting killed. And I certainly don't want to compare this young man to him. He was a great young man, of course. And I just hope that we don't let his voice be silenced by this. I'm 57 years old, but I seem like I can relate to the young people now a little bit better than what I used to. And the man served a great purpose for this country in trying to bring our young ones together and teach them a better way from what they were learning. I've just had two sons graduate from the University of Tennessee, and they're hurting also. Even though that a lot of the things that they were taught were a little bit to the left. Now, of course, at Tennessee, it's not as bad as some other colleges, but they've had to endure some of that. My youngest one actually he called me up one night and told me, he said, "Dad, what am I going to do? This goes against everything that you ever taught me." And I said, "Son, the best thing you can do is go along with it and fight it in some other arena. I just don't want, again, let's not let this silence this man's voice." And that's about all I have to say for you tonight.
Thank you for saying it, Doug. And I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. You are Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk. We need to begin a movement that proclaims that we are Charlie Kirk, that his memory will not die, that the concepts of freedom and liberty and free speech will never die. You can't kill it. Charlie was a believer, and Charlie's in heaven now. That doesn't mean that we're not sad. That doesn't mean that his family's not heartbroken in a way that I can't possibly imagine, that none of us can possibly imagine unless we've been through something like that. I am Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk. Nicholas called earlier today, and I told him the same. He is Charlie Kirk. And you now take that torch and carry it with you. And what is it? What are we doing? It's not about particular issues. It's not about this singular political point or that one. It is about freedom. It is about liberty. It's about the concepts that were brought to us by our founding fathers. And it's about insisting about the political left that they are the ones that have changed, and they have to get their minds right around what democracy looks like. And I said it their way, right? I understand that we're a representative republic, but that's what they love to say. This is what democracy looks like. This is what what does democracy look like? That when you don't get your way, you resort to violence? You scream and you yell? And you punch and you kick and you shoot? No. No, we stand up today and we say, I am Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk. You are Charlie Kirk. And we must continue to insist that his memory live on, that his life live on through us. That is a proper and appropriate remembrance. And I know it's way too early to think about that because sadly it just happened hours ago. Brian is next. Brian, thank you for your call. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having us on today. I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
All right. Well, this is wasn't what I expected to talk about today. I like to be on the super text line and be a little bit of a smart aleck and have some fun, but there's no fun in this.
Yeah.
And let me just say that, they murdered him because they didn't like what he had to say. That was it. And I've never hated anyone in my life so much to tell them that they needed to not be able to go home to their wife and their children. But this person that did this had that much hate in their heart. And these are the people that call us bigots and awful and how we're just, backwards and everything. How do they look at themselves in the mirror? These people that do these things. It's sad. It's sick. And, all he did was dare to question authority. And aren't we supposed to question authority?
I thought we were.
That's what I thought, too. And I'm telling you, I see this all the time in, higher ed, where all these people think that they're so open and so loving. And I'm like, no, what happened today was not open and loving, talking to people you don't agree with. And Charlie Kirk was a man of God, and he exemplified it. He would pray for everybody that came and called him every name in the book. He never lifted a finger to hurt them. Never. And that's, to me, the prime example of turning the other cheek. And he did all this. And someone else didn't want to turn the cheek. They wanted to tell a wife and their children that they couldn't have their dad because they were mad. That's all it was. And anybody that puts up for this, I'm sorry that you got all the hate listeners and the trolls on the text, but those people, but it's true though, we have to pray for them. And it's so hard to do that, isn't it?
It is.
It is. But yeah, but again, and what y'all do is so important.
Well,
every day I'm one of those, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No, I'm one of those, listen as much as I can throughout the day. Makes the work day go better. I like to laugh with y'all. It's great. And I wish we were talking, the fun stuff about can't take any shirt off, but we can't because somebody was killed.
Yeah, that's right. Because someone could not handle a different political position than their own. I'm looking currently, and thank you, Brian, for the call. As Brian was talking, I'm looking at video, and I'm hesitant to share this because I just want to guarantee that this is what I think it is. I believe the Provo police arrested a suspect in the shooting of Charlie Kirk after the university or the Utah Valley University event today. The name has not been released yet. I think I can share this. Yeah, no, I know I can. I mean, I know I can share it. So this is I'm going to keep the audio down for a minute because I tell you what, you, Jackson, keep your finger on the pulse of the button and pull this up on Talk TV. This is the video believed to be of the arrest. It's an individual in black pants, white shirt, Provo police.
Rifle on this dude's dash, and they just handcuffed him.
He had a rifle on the dash, and I don't know if this is related or not, but it is believed to be related, at least if you believe several online sources, but they're putting him in the back seat of this car. A number of items in a bag that he was carrying, a bright green bag, if you're not watching on Talk TV. And it looks to be a bolt-action long gun that he had on him on the dash of his vehicle or somewhere on his vehicle. And they're looking through the bag there. Once again, I'm seeing some of this at the same time that you are. So I don't know if this is related.
Do you see his gun?
Several have suggested that it is related out of Provo, Utah. But we're just trying to figure out how far. Hey, look up real quick how far Provo is from Odem. Odem, where Utah Valley is.
That's his rifle.
Because they're holding a rifle, what looks like a suppressor on the front of the rifle, and it looks like a bolt action with a wooden stock. So there's that. Pull that down for the moment, and we'll move on to a couple. Well, gosh, Marie and Kirk, or Danny, I should say, and Tony. I'll try to get to you if I possibly can, but right now I've got to do this. I apologize. I'm trying to get to as many as I possibly. I mean, obviously, it's been a crazy day. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 8 until the top of the hour. All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, a crazy day, and I appreciate so much our sponsors like Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is a direct pay healthcare facility. What does that mean to you, and why does it matter to you? Well, one, you pay Grace Point. You know exactly what your charges are up front. There are never any surprises, and frankly, it is going to be more cost-effective for you because you have the Smart Care option. That Smart Care option provides you a $69 price point every month, and you get unlimited office visits throughout the course of the year, plus free basic labs and diagnostics. That's what that's all about. Friends, Grace Point can be your primary care physician for you and your entire family, from newborns to seniors. They would love to see you, and you know exactly what you're paying. The insurance company does not get in your way. Folks, Grace Point Healthcare, 599-6868. Go by and see them in the heart of Franklin, 599-6868 to call for an appointment. Same day and next day appointments are available at Grace Point Healthcare. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. As we wind down our coverage of the incredibly sad, tragic, horrific breaking news story of the political assassination of Charlie Kirk, we're getting originally in the story we were told that his wife Erica and children were on site. I'm getting conflicting reports on that. You just pray that they weren't. I mean, you pray for them, generally speaking, but you pray that they weren't. One way or the other, we thank you so much. I'm saddened for Tony and Danny and Maria. I apologize to you. There's 3 left on the line. We just don't have the time to get to you, and I'm saddened about that. But I promise you we'll be discussing this at length throughout the course of the day. Tomorrow, starting with Nastro's Morning News and Dan Mandis, I'm certain that Mark Levin will have full coverage of it as he cranks up at 7 o'clock tonight, just after ABC News. And of course, Mandis in the morning from 5 until 9, Chris Hand after that. Chris is as close to this as any of us on Supertalk 99.7 WTN, works for Turning Point USA, knew Charlie, and I'm thinking about Chris too, particularly. I'm thinking about all of you. I'm thinking about America. God bless America. Can we keep it? It's up to us. Is this a turning point? I certainly think so. I pray that you hug your family tonight, hug your loved ones tonight, and we certainly appreciate every single one of you. And until tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we'll talk to you later.
I'm Pastor Alan Jackson, and I'm excited to invite you to join me for my brand new show on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8, I'll be talking about the week's news and headlines, but through a biblical lens. Together, we'll look at what's happening in our world and how God's Word can guide us through it. Join me, Pastor Alan Jackson, Sunday evenings at 7 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And you can listen on iHeartRadio and tune in.